Audience, we are ready to proceed with the next witness. Mr. Usher, can you kindly get the witness, please?
Malanding.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mballow.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
You're welcome to the TRRC.
Thank you.
And we thank you for agreeing to give your testimony this afternoon.
Thank you.
My name is Sagar. We already know each other.
Yes.
And I will be guiding you through the relevant portions of your testimony this afternoon.
Right.
We have a few rules here at the TRRC that I would just like to bring to your attention.
Okay.
Can we have interpretation, please? I don't hear any interpretation in the background.
Okay. What language?
Mandinka or Wolof?
Okay, we'll go along. Let's go.
Mr. Chair, can you give us some guidance?
I'm not sure I can give any guidance on that. Probably should have worked this thing out much earlier before the proceedings. I don't know. You met him.
Well, he's speaking in English, Mr. Chairman. So I'm just asking what language would be preferable on the floor of the commission for the audience. Wolof or Mandinka?
Okay, we can do it in Mandinka.
Thank you. Mr. Mballow, I was just going through some of the rules that we have here at the commission.
Mr. Mballow, I am for them indigo, Ben mem for can well indigo, Sartul Menian, Wolgatamaning, Bunkonajan, Commission Yatin on like all the foy.
The overriding consideration is your duty to tell the truth. And that is because it is an offense under the TRRC Act to lie before the commission. In order to deliver your testimony to the best of your ability, just make sure that we don't overlap our statements. So just answer my questions after I have asked.
Pura sedandro ni pura tani silo la mialon ko kolia ko so laje yal sila mo la nyinin karo ninga nyinin ga jan ninga be jabiro kala sikkan isikken ndindi yanni ba jabira isa ja lokuma kan woni ngi te selela nyokam.
And also make sure you take brief statements so that the interpreters are able to follow you.
Andum anim fanan ni la kuma kan woni ni be diam la fana isi sutandi do mandi sa kan na sorla membe ko ma isa sila kuma kan woni sa kan na sorno andum asiseneya.
And that is because although you're speaking in English, they're interpreting in the local languages in the background and also on the floor of the commission. We would like you to be comfortable as possible, so just assume any position that is comfortable to you on your seat.
Okay.
And also draw the microphone close to you so that you don't end up straining.
I
would just like you to consider your testimony as a conversation between us. For the most part, I will just merely guide you and ask you questions from time to time, but you are responsible for delivering your your testimony.
Sedandro nyi wicho nyi be kono ntela do bobe kala mendi wala nyi wati ni wati be karla bantambille nyato non ke nyi ka nyi karo la bari ko nyi be mu itela di tele be karla ila sedandro di la kolla.
And just so that you know what is expected of you, we would be mostly focusing on your arrest, detention, and torture by the NIA.
Nando hanin kabbi salon fanan ko dia mo nyum fanan dum be nyati lina menna fanna jama be kala men wala mi di defan kundi ko me ye soro wato men ye muta ye sama NIA anin tijar tajire yal men late kan jeto wato be marolo.
We will, however, begin with biographical information from you.
Folo mba folo da wala ifan wala kundi wala kibaroti.
And then we will end by questions from the commissioners and final remarks that you may have.
Andu nyala bamba la banda men wala nyindi go ni de pare da kumol bande de da kono kuma ko nyimba muru la commissioner ya ni ngatra momo es nyini kar so re ke nyini ka ni wo botale bina kumo nyi murun le kam fana ni atra kuma so re bela fle la kum da so na menna.
I hope you have understood everything that I've said and you're ready to proceed.
Njikira nyine la ko membe fota jang ya moy landu ya fa fana mem fota.
Very well.
Can you tell us what your full names are?
I
am Paul Malanding Mballow. Ntomu Malanding Mballow leti.
What is your date of birth?
I was born
on the 7th May 1966. Me karoti wurula 1966 long wuluta.
And without telling us exactly where you live, can you tell us what your current address is?
Nima fonyo mole science and debe sabatri mindo le bari ila address on mindo debe mala be sabatri ndangando.
My current residential address is Tabokoto.
And are you currently employed?
Yes, I am currently employed.
Can you tell us what you do?
I am a teacher by profession.
And where are you teaching?
I am currently the acting principal at Ndaus Comprehensive Upper Basic School, Canifin South.
Ndaus Comprehensive Karambuto Canifin. And how long have you been a teacher?
I started teaching in 1988 to date.
1988 Kanabula Villa. Can you do the math for us and tell us how many years that is?
It's about 28 years if I'm not mistaken.
So you're a very experienced teacher, to say the least. Can you just take us through your educational and professional background briefly?
I did my primary school education in Brikamaba.
Where is Brikamaba?
Brikamaba is in Lower Flood West District in the Central River region in the Gambia.
Brikamaba, Lower Flood Tilibo Mafola, Can you guide us with
Bansang Primary School.
Bansang Primary Karambuto.
Bansang as well is in Upper Fuladu in the Central River region of the Gambia.
Bansang Fanambe Upper Fuladu Janjambure Tundoka. Kindly guide us with the dates, please. So you can remember.
1976 to 1978, I was going to Brikamaba Primary.
1976-1978, Brikamaba Primary.
I had a brief termination in my schooling. Then 1980, I resumed at Bansang Primary.
What is Nata Sutum Nakaram Kunduta Bari 1980 Natamuru Katentem Bansang Primary Karamuto?
1983.
1983.
In 83, I passed the common entrance and went to Armitage High School.
1983, na common entrance Londi Kontiboke Nganyeta Tata Armitage High School,
where I was until 1988 when I sat to the GCE O level.
Mijele for 1988 na GCE Londi Kontiboke.
As soon as I finished high school, I was employed as an untrained teacher in St. George's Junior Secondary School in Basse.
Bingan na karang bang dorong na ngabdo ko so men kata karang dirote St. George's karam mo membe Basse sa te okon.
I was in St. George's in 1988-89 academic year.
Mbe St. George's 1988-89 karan sang which auto?
In 1989-90 academic year, I was transferred to Armitage High School as a teacher.
1989-1990 yen sound kata Armitage karambumbato ntata karandiro kyoto fanan.
I taught at Armitage also for 1 year as an untrained teacher. Then I enrolled at the Gambia College in 1989-90 academic year.
Mbewol to karandiro la for 1989-1990 Armitage karambumbato mbewol to karandiro la nata college 1980-1989. 1989-1990.
In 1992, I finished my HCC and was posted at St. Augustine's High School as a qualified teacher.
1982, Nana College Karamabang, Utumolo in Samba St. Augustine's High School.
Did you say 82?
1992.
1992, Nana Karamabang, Yen Samba St. Augustine's Karamumbato, Purunata Karandirola J. My Utumo get a qualified teacher, Nakarandiro Karandingabang.
When I was doing my training at the college,
College,
I did my practice teaching in 2 different schools. The first one was in Gambia Senior and the second one was in LK.
Ngutumombe karan kamfana nkani karandiro londo le sambanyola ngadoke Gambia Senior School ngadoke LK.
What is the full name for LK?
LK ato
Junior Secondary School then.
Tumo Latikunda Junior Secondary Karambung atom walde.
Now it's called Latikunda Upper Basic School.
Sai kafujele Latikunda Upper Basic School.
So from 92 to 95, I was teaching at St. Augustine's High in the afternoon shift.
1992 katahan for 1995 in St. Augustine's High School Karandirola.
And in 1995, whilst you were teaching at St. Augustine's in the afternoon shift, did anything particular happen that year?
1995 was someone what women ever Karandirola St. Augustine. Cut Karandoga Wularola. Fokuna Nasota Jail of a Menkata.
Oh, yes, indeed.
Ha, Kukata.
Can you tell us what happened and give us the exact dates?
And no Fisa phone on your Munaketa Wulula and Lunin from his phone on your back.
Yes, that was in 1995, in October.
October 1995.
Around the 1st or 2nd of October.
Namira October Karotil Fulo wala Fulanjango.
When I went to school that fateful day,
Brinta Karambun Lumula,
the supervisor of my session then instructed me to go and meet some boys in his office.
Mem Muntefana Nyaton Kote Karambun to Jewulum, I knew from Yakumata Modulu Tara, ala office.
Who was your supervisor?
Your man, we know you don't go to no water. You want to kill a cool Kuzon.
It was one Mr. Usman Sabali.
The Kafu Mayor Mr. Usman Sabali.
So when I went to his office, he gave me a pair of scissors.
Brintala office, I scissor ledina. Scissor.
He said there were students in his office, their uniform shorts were too long.
Ako Talibol Mballow office, ila uniform kurto lu jamfata bakele.
So he said, let me take the scissors and show them where they will actually do the cutting, and I just cut a little bit on the uniform to tell them that if they go home, they should do the cutting there and hem it there because that's the actual height of the uniform.
I need ko nintata, nsi aitandila ila uniform kurto lu nyanta danna daming. Between sewo dinkira ngerabeti sisola, ni saita suoko no ifol sa kuntu andu isi koparo kije, isi kurto nyi isi lu kopa.
So, Mr. Mballow, just to interrupt you there, these long shorts that the students wore were not compliant with the uniform rules of the school. Is that what you're saying?
Munda nyinkara muda dinno le yeda kurul menu uniform kurul menu we jamfata. Womu nyina diko ikui ay sartoli karamola sartoli nyinga ya tinyala uniform dungola karola.
They never, that was not comply with the school rules at all, yes.
To nyala wonin karamola kurjol la sarto mantanyula.
Please go ahead.
So I complied with the instruction given to me by the supervisor. I just cut a little bit of the shorts so that when they go home, they will complete the cuttings and do the hemming there.
Sa imfanan sonta ay amaro mendi na birinta talibolu ni tara ala ofiso kono. Ngasi sota nyanta kurtolu kundula dame nga damute ye puru ni saita. Ifon si kunduro to la ba okola isina kurti simulu ni kopa.
Can you tell us which students were involved?
Isa fono nyu karamundo ninjumale bedabe nkonyi kono.
This is the number was something like 5 students. I cannot remember all their names, but there is one particular student whose name stands out, and that one I will always remember.
Mo lulu le mu ikono bari talibe kilimbi je me ya lonko atente nyinal no la atola ate mumoleti men to natabo.
Kindly tell us the name of the student and what happened.
Talibo nyinto fonye ba muna na nake.
The name of the student was Dembaba.
Talibo nyinto mu Dembaba leti.
This Dembaba, I understand, stayed at State House with President Yaya Jammeh then, the chairman of the AFPRC then.
Na fahamu kwenye Dembaba utumo abaya Jammeh fe State House utumo wale chairman di AFPRC so German sakunda kono.
And that's the former President of the Republic of the Gambia.
Wala President membe nunjang banko kanjang Gambia banko.
Very well.
Wala famfam.
Would you happen to know what their relationship was?
The
information we had at the school was that Yaya Jammeh was an uncle to Dembaba.
Na kibaro men so karambundo wala mnyindi ko Yaya Jammeh mu Dembaba bariniti.
That was the only information we knew. He was there and that Jammeh was his uncle.
Na uduronne long kibaro to abijele andu ko Jammeh mu barinti.
And so he was amongst one of the students that had long trousers and you had to cut a little bit of it.
That's correct.
Well,
and he was also subjected to the same treatment as every other boy who had the same issue.
That's very correct.
Can you tell us whether this was accepted practice in the school, this practice of cutting these long shorts?
Isa fono nye fonyi mbaro nye gadata as fenno malan ko ikasongala la bankara mo do buruka kurtu mola fengotaka karamu mola fengotaka kundu ninga tara jamfara.
Yes, it was accepted because my supervisor had done it to some students before me, and I was the one that instructed me, meaning it was accepted.
Ni mukule timeya lonka isontala la karamu do kadu na supervisor nene yake talibe lolu lale. Wala na bilaya fonda fananya akongake mfana wala na nsonta ngake andu tumo lata la kokulem karamu sonta menna.
Did you have any problems with parents or students before that as a result of enforcing this particular rule?
Janni wo fo ina naka kole akol soro bang dinningol karamudo dinningol ila wulula waranto karamudo dinningol fo ina naka kole ina naka kole akol soro nyobulle bang.
Not anything that I was aware of.
Kuti jemeya wala manke dal hakilo simemutano.
And just before we move on to find out what happened after you cut the shorts of Dembaba, can you just tell us what your relationship was with staff and students alike in the school? At this point, I believe you had been teaching at St. Augustine's for about 3 years or so.
Silang jandim bita ka long muna narana tama ini nyingkara mudo nungol tema silang fo muna narana tama jandim be furaro njin la ta nyinal ko i tarta karandro la St. Augustine for mimbira for 3 years wala msanyi sabati.
As has always been the case with me in all the schools that I have taught.
Ko adalta kala karandro be to nyamendena karandro ke damen noto.
My relationship with staff and students has always been cordial.
Ni karamundo moro lunin talibo lutemo be tarta kunyima bebe larin kunyima lekang.
And St. Augustine's was no exception.
Adun St. Augustine's fanang atarta nyanyima sino lekang.
So tell us what happened after you cut Mr. Dembaba's shorts.
Silang afanye birita ta fo Mr. Dembaba yaro kurdusi ngi nyerebeti muna narana ke.
Now when I cut Demba's short,
Bringa Dembala kurdusi kundu.
I spoke to him in Fula.
Ndia mutaye Fula kamaleto.
I can remember exactly what I said in Fula was Kore ayata mi oya kauma Yaya Jammeh ko minta chitugo mama.
Ngam fa Fula kamato wala nyindi. I hope you will not go and tell your uncle Yaya Jammeh that it is me who cut your trouser legs.
That's correct. He laughed. We laughed over it together, and he said, "No, I wouldn't."
Bring of mbe jeletale yako haninte okela.
And the day ended. He went home.
Ntarajele fo karambo jita mbe saita su.
After 2 days,
Tilifula kola.
I was called by my principal then.
karamundu suti nata mkumandi utumo membe je
and ask about the issue of cutting those uniform sorts of the boys.
ay nyininka nyinkola men kata uniform kurti sinkuntoti.
And who was your principal then?
Nimala munu ile nyaton kote mem korda tiyo di karamu nyindo warola.
My principal then was Mrs. Elizabeth Yaminde Rena.
Utumo mem karamundu suti ikafaina Elizabeth Yaminde Rena.
And she asked me if I was involved.
And I nyininka photo nyala ndabi jele bang.
I said yes.
Nka ha.
And that it was Mr. Sabali who instructed me to do it.
Nka adu Mr. Sabali wale mbulala wale kungaki.
And she asked me what I told them after cutting his shot.
Ay nyininka ngamune fodem bae bringala kurti simukundu.
I repeated to her exactly what I asked them in full. That is, I hope you wouldn't go and tell Yaya Jammeh that I was the one that cut the shots.
Namen fay flakamoto ngasa inkang mukaramutu suti fana wanyale ko nami raitita ya fay bariya ko ndelenge la kurti simukundu.
And I reported to her that, well, we laughed over it, and he said no, and that was the end of it.
Bringo fay ngani mfana fay ko bringo fay flakamoto mbe jele tele ngamuta jele quality dorong ako hani utumolom ko nyimbanta.
And Mrs. Rena asked if that was all. I said yes.
Mrs. Rena nyininka folum ko be kumutibang kai ha danta wala.
She asked if I never said anything other than that. I said no.
Ay nyininka fomman kumado fommen man ke utibang kai hani kumudanta wala.
And she asked me to go back and continue my lessons.
Utumola makonyo utumuru yete la karandiroke.
I went to continue my teaching lessons.
Ntata continue tana karandirola.
And since I was coming to school in the afternoon shift,
Wairi nkana urara karandirola la numutumo.
Mr. Mballow, before you get to that, just kindly tell us, since this was accepted practice, why Mrs. Yamide Rena was asking you about this particular episode of you cutting the shorts of the boys.
Silang jandi be fudala woro sedo. Stumala me na nyimfu mu kula de mialan ko akadalta ka karamu. Sa mune ya sabu Mrs. Raina memu principal wonyindi. Akenyi ninka nyinyi kula nyimbaro la nyi mengete.
well, when I went to Mrs. Rena's office,
Bilintata Mrs. Rena la office auto.
I answered to her call.
Pour katandang kunala.
She told me that she received a call from the then Minister of Tourism and Culture.
Ayila fanyanko moya kumandi telefono to me yalonko wala minister tungo tumo memmarta to bablunta ning adola.
And said she got a complaint from State House
Ko ye kalamiro so to membota State House.
that I did something like that in the school,
Ko mo kufa so na kule ka kramo to membe ko kurti sinkundo.
and that the report they had was after cutting the short, I also insulted the leader of the AFPRC then, the chairman of the AFPRC, that is Yaya Jammeh.
Andu ye nyina fana fako birinda nga kurti singulu kundu nata AFPRC nyaton ko nenne me yalon ko wala mi Yaya Jammeh to tumo.
I denied the allegation there and then before Mrs. Rena.
Bari ngo kumo so jele Mrs. Rena fanga nyatili mulankaya manke.
And that was the time she asked me to go back and continue my lessons.
Utumolem akungamuru classroom utongata na karandiro tentendi.
Do you know from which particular individual this complaint came from in State House?
State House korda baro ya na nyimbole kuma kawanyinga boda jumala la karola.
From the information that I gathered later on,
Baro menata soto konyi kola
was that it was the then First Lady, Madam Tutifal Jammeh,
utumo eko memo president la no nyoti ngo tembo Madam Tutifal Jammeh.
who saw the uniform sort of Dembaba in that condition,
Meye dembabala uniform kurto je no wanyama kuntuda babala
and felt very unhappy about it.
akatae kuyanye kuoti kendeke.
So she called the tourism minister to lodge the complaint.
Utumolom ay minister kumandi memmarta tubablu ntawling adola purka kalamiro di wala.
Who also called my principal, to talk about the same issue.
Mem fana yente la karamundo suti o kumandi purka nyin kumakilu sata we.
And you've already explained exactly what you told this young man, and that was, I hope you're not going to report me to your uncle, the chairperson of the APRC party. Can you tell us what they considered an insult in that statement?
Ya fo mo le na jango eni nyi demba balde ina yemen fa ina men kacha tumala men ya la kurto ya kundu fo ya nyere bedlemba ina kacha ra men sila itoli kapitoli e kuma itoli mun je yingo kuma kawo ina kacha demba ba kacha ra men men mun ndiro ta kuma nyin kono.
Naturally, I mean, I don't see anything there as insulting. They know what they consider as an insult, but I don't see any insult there.
Ntade man nendirje kuma kawo kono ngamen fae. For me, Italia mutanendiroti titella karola bari ndimo kuma kawo men fae senata la man kenendirti.
But the information from the former First Lady to the Minister of Information, to your principal, was that you actually insulted.
Kibaro membota bankol nyaton kola no munyo koto membe nunjang anin aya kuma kawo mendi tourism minister la o fana ina na kuma kawo fulani principal o munye ko yene ndiro lake.
That is correct.
Wala mtonyati.
So therefore, this statement that you made to Dembaba was no longer considered a laughing matter, I guess.
Ramundala ko nyindala ko iteni Dembaba o yekuma kawo nyimem faade amanke kuma de mianon ko jele ndiro kuma len sai ko tanke.
Well, it seems what I said to Dembaba was never related because it was something else that was related to the brother.
Amunta bitunda ngamen fo fo Dembaba iwo kuma manke kuma te yemen futande ye kuma dole fanamfo.
And you wouldn't happen to know how the information got wrongly related or mixed up down the line, would you?
Monday man na zero soto no koteke ka lonno nyin kuma ka nyin afrano ra nyaadi le nyinte nyimma fo ya frenda ma nyaala me yaron ko amanke to nyaadi fo ye o zero soto leba.
No, I don't have any information about that. In fact, it was not even true that Demba never said I insulted Yaya Jammeh. Probably it was just something manufactured and then they took action to do whatever they wanted to do.
Nde manna londe akumo tamata je nyaming yo bari asekeno fangonde man ngamen fo Demba mahani dante wala fang amunda etele kumo le ta dron ye kumo dada ifaye itel lafta kuma kama men fola amunda etele kumo dada ifaye jele wala kata kumo etele men fo.
So to be precise, you don't know how this information actually came into being.
Munda ka suti andirong ite nyinki baro nyi imalo nyinki baro nyi anano ra nyaadi le.
Exactly, I don't know.
So kindly tell us what happened after you were dismissed and you went home.
Ilang sila nga fonya ya fo muna nara na ke bring ye bula kata isaita su.
The principal asked me the following day before I reported for work. I went to see a friend in the morning.
Ja oso mo janinga na do kola karamuto ntata nteri ma dole je.
Can you remember that date?
Ilo teri ma nying po isa to mura no ba.
Friend?
The date.
The date the principal told me about this was October 4th, on a Wednesday.
Arabalulong October karotil nani ulunam principal e karamundo suto yin kumo fanyi.
So the following day was on Thursday, October 5th.
Afsomo mu aramisolti October karotil lulu.
That morning, before I went to school, I went to see a friend.
Osomanda janimbita karamundo ntata nteri ma doje.
Before midday, I understand some people went with a vehicle to my residential house and asked for me.
But wolung nata nyimfana moy ko janin talantan nimfana tilibulo molu soton ta menu ni moto tata na bumoto mbe sabatirin dami.
They did not find me and left a word with my landlord's mother.
Imantara jede bari njiati ma suti Obama ya kibaro tuobulu.
That if I come back, I should be told that some people from Banjul came to ask for me.
Konin nata isafo nyemko molu soton tale menu bata Banjul menu nata ibenyinin kan.
I said to the old woman, okay, since they did not meet me, if they come back, tell them I've gone to work.
Nkai wairi bitung itel nata le imantita rajam. Afo yentata do kugula.
And I prepared to go to school.
Did you know those people who were looking for you?
That very moment in time I got the information, I did not know, but I suspected who they might have been.
Who did you suspect?
I suspected it might have been the NIS.
And why did you come to that particular conclusion?
Because the previous day, my principal called me and said a state minister called her to complain that I did this and that and said this and that. So I said, well, probably this thing is being blown out of proportion, and maybe, well, I am going to be a guest of the NIS.
Between Mayo Miro Blanco, William Yintico, where Januo Lumo, Otilo, Lumen Nasutio Young Commandi, Canyon Calamiro Fonye, Cafonia Coteninta, Nini Fota, Nsobitako, Wotomoni Mukumaleti Mayanonco. Say ya dante nyamin kumoni ilafta atambindele ka kumoni ngulindi kake kuma tambirimoti.
I'm just interested to know why you suspected the NIA straight away rather than the police, for example.
Ko nyimu kule me anon ko aya kita suru de pour ka long mune ana mune na tan na nyi sabati ndi sondo mo kono ko nyinde abe kala NIA le wolle nyini ka suwo kono.
Because to me at the time the NIS were even more powerful than the police. What they could do, the police would not do such a thing.
Niaje nsobita NIA otumo NIA sembo warata andu hanyita menda se menkeno police wol fangu ka anyola.
And what were those types of things that the NIA would normally do?
Yeah, it was not a secret at the country in the time that, people were disappearing, people were being arrested, taken to their NIA offices and severely tortured. It was in the newspapers all over, and I was, all the times reading and following what was happening.
Kule bekere nuotumo memma mo kumpanyi mbanko kan. Kadrodumo nyimbe fokan akasafe kibar kaidrol to wati ena eulko eka menke banko ka molu ka yeman eka molu mutake samba kai tajire ya ku jama kake me yalo ntafumo kakaran kibar kaidrol to wati membe ke kan banko kan wala na manke kumbakuti.
And as far as you knew, how far did the jurisdiction reach?
Maitala Rondoro, NIL, it will not do going in a blowing and Danta Mintole.
I don't know where it ended, but I don't think it was what they were doing.
Manola sembo danta damin barina mira be menke kan be kuluke kan na nyami amanyam futala woto.
Perhaps I should rephrase my question, but I wanted to know the extent of their power.
Ko wor say mboro nyini karo nyinga ya falen ni nyaado nyawa say rafta kalo ne ila do ko ni sembo nyinga danta mintole.
Oh, they were very powerful.
Sembo wartanum back.
And how far into society did they reach, for example? How far did they permeate into the private lives of individuals, as far as you know?
Ila sambo ika stamba ni tembela nya jumaldo na jamaa kono ni taraje na jamaa kono sembo nya ika dundi mulka nyadi na ika tamani mulka nyadi na jamaa kono.
I think they reached every part of the society.
Namira etulu jamaa mulu fanna damen diate eteli ika dunno jele.
And here you were suspecting that as a teacher teaching at St. Augustine's High School, you were now a target of the NIA.
Sirangi fira janye besiri ndando itam karandilaldi karamundo moro lo muite karanduro St. Augustine karamoro iketa modi mi alonko yedoli mosodo kabo NIA la karola.
Yes, that's true, because I really suspected that they were the ones asking for me, even though they did not meet me in my home.
Wala mtonyate nsobita ko tollem akata nyonyande hanni mantara suwakono bari nsobita ko itellem moluti men be nyinin ka kamotumo.
Then I was praying to God that even if they were going to arrest me, they should arrest me at my workplace, that is in a public place that everybody would know I was with them, so that I would not also disappear, just like that as it was happening with others.
Between the afternoon men, Hani Bemutala, is in Muta Dinkira from the Dukola Nun Daming, Kuwairi Woto, Jama Mole Beoto, Nibe Mutala, a second more Jamanyala, Purin Kamala, Jamale Yemantandum, Fanamala, Fanataro Mulko, Nakafuluma, many alonko, Yemantawanya Mulume Kalamolo.
So it was therefore a blessing that they did not meet me in my home that morning.
Well, not a Kenyan ala Manta Bemoti, Imantara Nabukono Somanda.
Then I got prepared to go to work.
When
I arrived at my workplace at St. Augustine's High,
St. Augustine's High School,
this was Thursday the 5th of October. As at the corridor of the staff room, when I entered to sign the staff attendance book,
karamundo moro la kitabo sign bungu men kono silo men tata dum wala peren ko mbe silo le kan pour kata buko sign.
One of the operatives came after me. I thought it was a parent seeking for admission for a child.
Wo do kula ena ela molo kilimbula tan noma bari ndaga nyini mira nun ko mole me ya lon ko wulula le mwati men lafta adimma nati la kadundi karambuto.
Who are you referring to as an operative?
You go operative. Ibe Jumal, Ibe Jumalti.
This was one of the NIA guys that came to arrest me actually.
Nyimu NIA mo kilineti menu nata pour kante muta.
So before I even entered the staff room to sign, he called me aside and asked if I was Mr. Mballow.
Hani jannen kadum staff room ko no karamundu moro la bunga kata buko sign daming nyimari ayanyinin ka fontelom Mr. Mballow tibang.
I said yes, I was Mr. Mballow.
Nka ha ndelo Mr. Mballow ti.
And he identified himself to me as an officer of the NIA.
Aya fanfonyo ko atamumole timembe do ko la NIA.
That I was needed in their office for some questioning.
Ko isulatantala itella officer to pour kata nyinin ka.
And I said to him, okay, fine, not bad, but just allow me to sign my attendance register to indicate to my authorities that I have reported for work today.
Nga ha bito nyawnyande yamfanyi nganyim buko sign ka itandi mulu la mbedu ko la menne kon nata karamuto le nata do ko le.
I did struggle to convince him. He accepted. So when I signed the attendance register,
follow to alafta kala kole ya koti pour ka song ngata buko sign babirin anata song tata na register nyin sign.
and when we wanted to go out, I said to him, well, you still have to do one favor for me.
Birin lafta findila katanyo la bandanka hanimbi ibe mako la kukilindo de.
So you see, it's about 2 o'clock, the morning shift are closing, so let me also alert my supervisor.
Awairi abenda talam fula watu le fe somanda karanna lubejila adunta nyanta urara karandilo kela nkai bitu membarta memmum fanana nyato nkoti mbadu nasarala.
So that he would know that you people meet me in your office and I've gone there because I'm going to miss my lessons. I don't know what time I may be coming back.
Wairi afelenti atelu sulatana alla ofisoto mbadu na faye nasarala katu nyanta karandilo kela jang adunna manna longa manje abijakal la puru menketa bitu mbadu nasarala asalo membe kering kalonko atele sulatana ntatan danko atele la.
Mr. Mballow, what were you teaching at St. Augustine's at this point?
Mr. Mballow, itata kamun fanna le karandinu St. Augustine karamoro.
I was teaching mathematics and agricultural science then at St. Augustine's High.
Utumo nka sifaro le karandije mathematics anin seno londo agricultural science.
So he accepted, then I went with him to Mr. Sabali's office.
Asonta bitunna tata nyola Mr. Sabali la office.
I informed Sabali that this guy is from the NIA. He said I'm needed in their office for some questioning, so I'm going with him.
Now for Mr. Sabali nko nyimari de abota NIA le. Bara nyina foko itolu sulatan tala ila ofiso le to pour ka nyinin ka kumodo la bitun sa influenti na bitanyola.
The officer happened to be an ex-student of St. Augustine's High also.
Adu nyimem fona tante noma yara ate fon fanam ne karanta St. Augustine's karambu le to.
Mr. Sabali recognized him as an ex-student.
Mr. Sabali asute ko nyimuna talibe kotolete.
I knew that he was also working at the NIA.
Andu aya lom fanan ko nyimbedo ko la NIA le.
He told the NIA officer that, look, this is Mr. Mballow is one of my very good teachers, so please don't go and detain him there. The students will be missing classes, and he teaches 2 subjects.
Akaya ha bitunde ni munna karamundu kende baleti ayofu NIA we. Ka fa Mr. Mballow munna karamundu mori kende baleti andu aka londi lasili fula le karandi jang. Andu ning alikana asambaleta sindi jede ni onte ala talibolu ibe fola la karandi rola le.
The boy laughed and said, no, they were not going to detain me.
Ajeleta ko hani itente mutalaji.
So we went out of the school compound.
Mfindita karambungu la sansano kono.
Around the King Fahad Mosque,
Birin na tafo King Fahad jamano mafanna.
there was a waiting VW van.
Utumo motobelori nje Volkswagen vano.
I can't remember the registration number.
Hakilo nyina bota moto nyina nomba la lede.
But inside the waiting van, I found 3 other officers.
Bari moto nyin kono namo saba kotangulu fanan taraji.
They were being led by somebody I knew.
Membe nyaton kaya kan wotembo mole muti na mellong.
Is one Baba Saho.
Ikafa Baba Saho.
I used to live in Talinding.
Utumo Talinding.
I was in Bundung.
Mbenu Bundung fanang tumomen.
In the evening, we used to camp at a particular place around Nusrat Johnson on the Brikama Highway.
Bar nungura rosita nibe kabendulale to Talindinge Nusrat silaba nyinkang.
There was one Guinean man shopkeeper there. We used to play draft game there, draft.
Ginenka bitikitio do bije enka benje enka damia ke ala bitikubunda la je.
So when I found Baba in the van, I recognized him.
Bringa Baba tara moto nyinkono ngasute.
We greeted each other.
Na nyokonto.
I don't know the other two officers that were in the vehicle with Baba.
Mo fula dolu menini Baba be moto kono dem mawulong.
So, but Baba actually was a senior officer there, and he was the one who led the arresting team.
Baba lemu bela nyaton koti menu be je wo tembo. Bar bitung atel fanan nata ke nyaton koti menu nata menu yenta muta.
But were they all NIA officers?
Yes, all of them were NIA officers.
Ibemu NIA do kulaleti.
Were you told the reason why you were being arrested?
I was told that I was needed in their office for some questioning.
Ye men fonye nunduron ko wala nyinti isola tanna intela ila officer kono pour ibe nyinin kala.
So we drove and went to the NIA.
Bitum bula tamoto kono tata ila officer to nyale NIA.
When we arrived, I was at the entrance there. You have some security men that are NIA officers also table stationed there who will take note of visitors, take your items, put them there before you can get inside.
Bring flatela bunda batu. NIA kan bunda kantala lumenu bije. Tabulo bije dame yalon ko wolle ketala kibaro be safe bari ila fenglu menu fanalu be bulu itel kawlu be tayte bulule ke landije ukola lo kanete mari bula yelun kono to ni ramulu.
Then after a while,
bring tata han for wati tambita
I was led inside the buildings of the NIA office.
Utumole na tandundi bumu dol kono NIA office to je.
Can you tell us who led you there?
I don't know the one who led me there, but I think a call came from inside for the guy at the gate that he should escort me there.
Bitu malo jumale kilimu nyi mari te bari ngamira kumandiro buta konotole ka fanyi mari yanko asitambi nyato kante samba konotoji.
And apart from Baba Saho, did you recognize any of the other NIA officers, including the NIA officer who arrested you?
Ninga boda Baba Saho la. O NIA member moroko no je. Fo mo koten sonda jele men sude na boda Baba Saho la ni meng fang itate no ma fokara mo nyi ngona arrest ani finitana.
No, I don't know the other officers. It's only Baba I knew.
No officer do londe bari Baba ngate drone long.
And you were able to identify the NIA officers as well?
Andong NIA nyu fana yina na isude no le.
Yeah, because, they drove me, they went in, and I saw them busy working in and out. Of course, I knew that they were staff.
Between Brini Tata Nola Najele, Imantem Kube Dunim Bola, so Nalon Konil Bedu Jang.
How did you know that was the NIA office?
Because before the incident, I knew that was the office of the NIA.
Hanijan Kubekala, and Nalon Kujelemu, NIA office.
Tell us what happened after you got there.
When I was ushered into the inner offices of the NIA, I was put alone in a particular office. I waited for close to 20-30 minutes. Another NIA officer came for me again. And then transferred me to another office, just like a conference room. You had a big table inside the room. I found the uniform shirts displayed on the table. So I was given a seat. I found 4 other officers of the NIA there. They asked me if I recognized that sword that was lying on the table. I said, no, I don't recognize it. I did not recognize the shot.
Nko ya hanide manyin kurti sutuno masute.
He pressed, I said no. I cannot recognize just a shot I have seen on the table like this.
Ye deten di kanyinin kan ko ya haniko manyin kurto jelarin tabulo kanja nyame. Nta sute nola.
And they lifted the shot to show me the part where I cut with the shisho.
Ye kurto nyin chikandi utumolo ye dinkira itandi nangada men kunduni sisola.
He said, they asked if I was the one who did that.
Ye nyinin ka fontele yoke.
I said, I don't know whether I am the one who did this to this shot you have because I don't know who owns this shot.
Nko ha malonde meye nyin kurto kunduten kadu man kurto nyin mari wolong.
And they said, do you know any Dembaba who is attending St. Augustine's High?
Because nya fo man talibe lombange ka fo meye Dembaba membe karankan St. Augustine's High.
I said, oh yes, he's my student. I know him very well.
Nko ha na talibe olom ngalon kendeke.
He said, did you do anything like this to his shot?
Iko nya fo kukele membe konyi yala kurto kundu.
I said, yes.
Nko ha.
He said, yes, he's the owner of this shot. I said, okay, then I am the one who did that. If it is Dembaba's shot, then I am the one who did it.
Nko ha natara to yade Dembabala kurto le mutele nganyin kurto kundu ten.
And they asked me what I said after I caught the shot.
Iko nya mbiriye kurto nyin kundu ten nata munefo.
I repeated exactly what I said. I said, I spoke to Demba in Fula.
Nga sayinka nko ninde mbabadi amtafulaka nolotelwe.
And asked if he would not go home and report me to the chairman of the AFPRC, then that is the former president of the Republic, Ajame.
Ngame mfai wale mnyindi ko fo, karuiti tala yeta nakumo sata AFPRC la chairman ya utumo, memu ya Ajame te utumo.
And then we laughed over it and Demba said no, he wouldn't.
Nje na kejele quality fan ninde mbabe jele ta kwa hani ateokela.
So I said that was all I said.
Nko ya bede nta wale to.
He said no, that you are lying.
Iko nye hani befani yalla.
And I said, well, if that's your opinion.
Nko ya umatele la miroti.
He said, you insulted the president and the chairman of the AFPRC heavily when you did that.
Iko nye ite AFPRC la chairman ya nendir kende babiri nyinkumolufu.
That we are the kind of people that do not want to see the leadership of the AFPRC. I said, no, that is false. I don't have any business with politics. I am just an ordinary classroom teacher. How do you expect me to have the audacity to insult the chairman of the AFPRC? Who was at the time the head of the state? I said, look at me properly. Me, I am a provincial man. I am very well brought up. I said, I will never insult, and I never insulted him.
Sorry to cut you there. I just wanted to know if you were considered opposition, and that's why they were saying you are the kind of people that would normally insult the president.
After the car London for it will mirror or ye get quite a multi more fast on the Malanding, it opposition or the way I saw we left the king a Kumasifa Sambia.
Yeah, by merely saying that we are the kind of people that do not want to see the leadership of the FPRC means I was considered an opposition.
Purka for the Romu Memfoko, Intemu Mofaso, Litiman Malafi AFPRC la nyaton kaya jala nyimbanko kang. Utomanya mutakutonya ye muta opposition already.
Even though I had nothing to do with politics.
Hana atara ntemang haju soto political la karola.
So there was this push and pull that I was lying, I insulted, I said I did not insult.
Between Yankatani tema nyo sabandino to command ndiro kelemko mannen dirke.
And they brought out some pieces of paper and asked me to write down my statement.
Yeah, kaitolo fentindina ekobitu nanna kumakamalu safeji.
Which I did.
Nanna kumakamu safe.
And I was told to wait.
Ikomambatu.
He took my statement and went away and left me there alone.
Yeah, now kumakan safari muruta inatata yendam mantuje.
Until around 30 to 45 minutes again.
And for minute tan sabakata minute tan nini lulu tambita.
2 military officers and 2 plainclothes officers came in a Nissan patrol from the State House.
Utumole moto nata Nissan patrol moto. sojar fula ani mo fula men yalan ko e ma uniform dum ul mo nano nata men batanan state house
Mr. Mballow, I'll have to interrupt you here before we go any further. Before or after your statement was taken, were you actually charged with any offense?
Mi be da kuma kan yin tala safero do memo statement odi fo ye tumirle kan ne ban ka fo ko ye nyineke ye luwati nya ye nyineke luwala karola wala asabu ngena de
The NIA, they only brought out paper and told me to write down my statement.
NIA la officer to J ye kaito drone nati ko ngana statement o safe ko kola imam femfemfo.
When I finished writing my statement, this was taken away from me and I was told to wait.
Biringa na safero bang yenna kaito tambulu ina tata iko ngambatu.
You were not charged with any offense?
bari man tumirle kan ka fo ye nyineke
Ani imantu mi man femfemfo.
Not at all.
Were you cautioned about your legal rights?
o ina tane yamro hono dilal ban purila nyantora luwala karola
Not at all.
Ani mawoke.
Were you told that you had the right to contact a lawyer or a family member?
o ya fana ya fo ne fana mako ni muy le kan nyantolde ye nyanto so le puru ye lo ni loya nyoma waranto ni la fulu parents or même que de la famille de ni nyoma ba.
Not at all.
Ani wo fana manke.
So you said basically you were there until 2 soldiers came in and 2 plainclothes officers.
Officers, yes.
ko be nje fo wati la sojar fula nara ni uniform sojar uniform ani mo fula yaran ko wolman so uniform dum men ko bora bangola korda bal.
That's correct.
Yes, Tonya.
Can you tell us how you knew they were from State House?
Yalo nyaade ko nyun bora bangola korda bal to State House.
Because when they came into the office,
Kato biri dun tanan officer kono.
one of the NIA officers that was present when I was writing my statement,
NIA la dukulal kono killing bije birim benna statement on safela nakuma kama bije no tumo.
I heard him telling his colleague that our friends from the State House have arrived now.
Ngamwe akafa do kunyo yanko ha na molu men be State House isaing inatale futatale.
When those people came in, I was introduced to them as their guest.
Birimolu duntanan yaitandi ko ntemo wollela duntanti.
So I was handed over to these officers from State House.
Bito tumolo yente chika yen dumo molu bulu menu bata State House.
And we came out of the building,
Mfinteta nambuno kono.
and I was told to collect my items that I left at the entrance of the NIA.
Mutumole ko ngantrak na fenguluta ngamenutu NIA bunda to birimbe dun na kono to tumomeng.
And one of the guys in military uniform was driving the Nissan Patrol.
Bitu meni ya lonkwari mufla le uniform dun kilindo wala be Nissan Patrol moto nyimburendi kan.
Did you recognize any of them?
Mo so de kono la yemen sude ba.
Yes, obviously, all these 4 people, I have got their pictures in my mind.
Imona no be amunta ila kalamo ben sondomo kono da animbe abako
You
ina
actually know them at that point.
Ye lonne o wato la.
I did not know who they were at the time,
malonde wotembo jumanyo lem.
but after what happened,
Bare menna take wokola.
in other words, I pictured all of them in the mind.
Bitu mutumolo hakilo nata ibe nyada muta.
So as things kept unfolding,
Kolu be boka nyoto nyameng.
I've been seeing the pictures of some of these people in the media, and this is this man is this. Then I came to know who they were.
Kadu nyimolu wati inatalo ka finti kibar kaito bala nyino mkariti nyino mnyenti kumu kola lo mna talo jumanyo lem nyiliti.
And that was the time I knew who actually my torturers were.
Utumolo na talo jumanyo le yente tajriya.
So tell us who these people were that were driving in the vehicle with you.
Yo silan afonye jumal lam nyum moltinu menu yalon ko ini tarta ni moto kono ka moto boronde ini tarta.
One who was driving, I understand, was called Alpha Ba.
Membe moto borendi kanu nga afumwe ko wotomu Alpha Baleti.
The leader of the trip was Daba Marena.
Memmo kafonya ton koti utumwe kafole Daba Marena.
And one of the other guy that had the military uniform, I understand, was Malafikor.
Meye uniformo mo do fulanja onye kafole Malafikor.
It is the 4th person I cannot remember.
Mo nani njamo bitum hakilo bota wala hakilo mo mutano nyinatale.
So after collecting my things, I was put in the Nissan Patrol pickup and sandwiched at the back by the military officer, the military man in military uniform, and then the other one in civilian dress.
Biringanna femoluta NIA korda bundatu. Utumolo yembulandi nyin Nissan moto kono. Bitung yembula tema. Do meya uniform dung. Aning do nyi meya alonka ma uniform dung. Ulmu flole yembula tema moto nyi komasira moto.
Oh, sorry, I remember the fourth guy.
Nani njango saying hakilo bula talale.
Fourth guy was Alaji Martin.
Nani njango ikafole Alaji Martin.
Yes, it was Daba Marina, Alpha Ba, Malafikor, and Alaji Martin.
Mona lolem Alpha Ba, Alaji Martin, Malafikor, aning ikafome Daba Marina.
And these 4 individuals you've named, can you tell us what their positions were at the time or at some point that you knew you got the information?
Yumona no me ye fo janteng. Fo isa fo no nye. Mumaka male tarti bulunu wa watola.
During that time in 95, I understand Daba Marina was the NIA officer attached in State House.
Utumo 1995 la utembo Daba Marina lom NIA dukulati member State House.
The other guys, I understand they were in the State Guard.
Dolu nata nyimfam ko ulbe State Guard le dokuala.
Yes.
Do you know if all of them are still alive?
Oh, ila londora. Fe yalo na fo nyin mol nanol be. Fe be baluri na ba hani sayamba.
These 4 people, I think it's only one person is leaving.
Nyimmo nano nafahamu roto kilini be baluri ikono.
Alpha Ba, I understand, was implicated in one of the attempted coup d'etats.
Alpha Ba ngamoi inata atona tadum o jamfa jawol kono be alonko coup d'etat lemu.
Well, Daba Marina was also implicated in one of the coup d'etats.
Daba Marina fanang tofata coup d'etat lo kilin kono.
The information we had was that they were being transported to Janjambure prison. The vehicle somersaulted and they escaped.
No memoi wo tembo ikoy be samba kan Janjambure kasolla ila muto nata boy ka yelema bitun itilbe kanata jele.
I don't know whether he's still alive or he's dead.
Bari malon fani mbebe balurin fafata.
Malafikor also, I understand, was implicated and he got killed at one time during the scuffles.
Malafikor fanan nata moy afanan to fata kule kono bitun dunyolo ketaje inata fao kono.
But Alaji Martin, who later became General Martin, is alive.
Bari Alaji Martin me alonko anatake general oti sojar bundala obe balurin.
Is he the same Alaji Martin that testified here before the TRRC?
Ato Alaji Martin kilingo namba me ala sede andro di commission nyati lingo na jamba.
Very well, ma.
Wale fanfan.
So tell us about that car journey from the NIA. Where were you heading?
Sila ngafonye birim ibula da yebula ndo motola ka findi NIA. Ali al kumulo mindole.
The car journey was very interesting, ma.
Ndo moto kono mitaka ntulo menna anatake kuti menketa kawa kuti.
Because up to now, I really cannot tell you what was going in my mind during that car journey.
Katu kanabula bila membe nsondo mokono utumo mfama hakilo tatanola.
First, when we boarded the car, I thought I was going to be detained at the Banjul police.
Follow birimbula tamoto kono nganyi mutako bensambala Banjul police korlando katansindije.
And this was when we were inside the NIA compound. In fact, when I got into the car, I thought I was going to be driven to Banjul police and be detained.
Wole mwato membe NIA sansam kono janninga fendi nganyi mutabirim ko mbe bula la motola ngo to nyil kansamba Banjul police korlando katansindije.
To my disappointment,
bari menna ta kenya jikila tewti.
as we came out of the NIA gate,
birim findita NIA korda bala bundala.
instead of moving towards Banjul,
Puru kantiling Banjul sate wala kata sate kono.
we drove to go out of Banjul.
Bari itilemu to nya tilindi damena wala mkafinti Banjul sate kono.
Well, then more thoughts came in mind.
Butunde namira rona ta siya otembo.
I said, okay, perhaps now they are going to detain me at the Mile 2 prisons.
Ngani mutanko to nyili ibensamba kam Mile 2 kasola sindije.
When we came close to Mile 2, the driver was not reducing the speed and he was just increasing.
Biringa ta kakata Mile 2 kasola driver masimu tala. Baringa je boroka la fadron.
I said, no. This is another thing now. This one again, I'm disappointed. More thoughts continue to come in mind. Then I said, okay, now perhaps they are going to take me to Fajara barracks.
nko ha asekeno e bente sambala fajara sojar kordal to
where they will be detaining me.
damen ise mabono je
We approached Tinkona.
nata han fom futata stinkona
I saw no signal towards Bakau.
ngaje moto man signal ke wala ka kuita ndo kabita bakawle
There were more disappointments.
najikilate wala fata
I said, well, now, I don't know. Maybe now they are going to take me to Yundum Barracks.
nko ha barisilan de malo barasake e ben sambala yundum barracks
We were actually driving at a maddening speed.
moto be borikan sembe bala
When we approached Churchilltown petrol station area,
birin na tan fom bina futala Churchilltown essentiero ma fangala
he missed to knock down somebody.
domandin dindin abe mota kila auto fang
The driver applied the brakes so hard
driver ni moto londi sangaro la breko lu muta sangara ke
that I could feel inside the smell of burning rubber.
mbe moto kono nyawnyande moto singo moiri fole long asunkango yema janita nyamen birin aborta manokan
We continued going.
birin bare kaboje intententa kotake
When we approached Ilatrikunda Sabiji market,
birin bina futala latikula sabiji marché auto
the same incident at Churchilltown again wanted to repeat itself.
kotake men lafta kala nu Churchilltown ato kukilo la pareta kalaji
He wanted to knock off. He almost knocked off another passenger.
auto fanan demanding abe mota kalaji
The same thing. He applying the brakes to an extent that I could feel the burning rubber inside the vehicle.
kotake ay moto sangara brake nyamen moto simulu janita manokan hanfa sunkanta
Mr. Mballow, can you tell us why they were driving so recklessly?
Mr. Mballow, first of all, ile London, mune ya sabu nyini be moro burga wonyala.
I would not be exactly able to tell you why they were running like that, but I suspect that they were in haste to deliver me or to get me to wherever they wanted to take me.
nta fono la munana ibe hawjarin wonya bari nsobita ko nyilu ibe hawjarin ne pour kanti samba be mfutandila damin wala asike kudoti wala akendi ibe hawjarin
So I did not lose hope when we passed Latrikunda,
manji kila tede birinta metalati kundala
because then I said, now I'm going to be detained at the Yundum military camp.
nko sai woto nyilu bento samba ka yundum sojari kordal
When we arrived at the camp,
birim futata kampoto
that was where I was just devastated.
jelo na jiko beti nyata
Because in other words, that was the last straw that would break the camel's back.
bitu wole mkuti meya lonko wole be ko beti nyala na sondo moto
All along I thought I was going to be detained there now.
wotumo bente kanyini mutako woto silang wairi yundum kampo do ne ben nyato ben sambala woldu
But instead of going into the camp again, they continued. They sped off past the camp.
bari wairi birim futata woto ngaje koy man du yundum kampo nim bori bala fanga tambita woto la
I said to myself, oh, it's over now for me.
nko woto ntebe dame woto ndela kolo abantante bulule
Why I thought so?
munan na ngawmira
Because during the 11/11 coup d'etat, attempted coup d'etat,
birin 11 on 11 November karola kudeta bayringo
I learned that men or military officers were driven into the Nyambai Forest Park and were executed.
ngani moy ko e sojoro dolu muta e dundi nyambay wulo kono e faje
So really when we passed the army camp going towards Birkama,
birin tambita sojar kurda la ngantilim birkamala
I said, now it's over. They are now going to take me to where they were executing those military officers who were involved in the November 11 issue.
nko woto sila nyil kande samba wulo kono November karotil tan linkili e sojarul fadami woto kam fanan samba wulo to
I offered a lot of prayers before we arrived the forest.
yelo mu ngadua damuta
Maybe the prayers were answered.
asikeno ngo dua menkije ala natan na dua muta
Indeed, Mr. Mballow, because obviously we can see you sitting right in front of us, so
Thank
we know
you.
that the prayers were answered. But before we get there,
Yani be futala woto.
I mean, the reason why all of these thoughts were going through your mind, or perhaps tell us the reasons why all of these thoughts were going through your mind, is that because, as you had previously told us, you knew the reputation of the NIA. Were they capable of doing all of these things that you were fearing, to kill you? Or
Dalila jumala ya sabu nyimiro be kan nata isondo mo kono to mala men nay ni be itaka ngi silo kan ni fura da janyi kajikira fo tenu fo NIA itala mira lo fo yen jisu be mo so ba waram fo ya fatia so ka imbara sifal ke ba men ko me yeme fo command no ba ka men ke ba.
Having been a civil servant at the time,
ndemo masa kunda do ko laldi wotumo
somebody who was every day reading the newspapers,
anun kita moliti men ka kibar kaytolu kara luolu
knowing what was happening in the country at the time.
min bebe ke kamban ko kamoto mo men ka kibar kaytolu nka jele
I knew the NIA were capable of doing more than even that.
malon NIA ul se kukeno fam men siata woti
That was what was in my mind at the time.
dalilo le ben sondo mo kono ngotumo.
And in your environment as a teacher, going to school every day, did you ever think that you would be the target of an NIA attack?
Ite la mira lodo wato mena ite mukaramundo moroldi yo karandro ke karamoldo fo ite ya mira ina na bekela moti me alongo betar la NIA la dolon kono la bang.
I really never thought a report teacher like me at the time would be a target of the NIA.
Nela mamira ko nte karamundo moro nte nyom fentang fo NIA ul bine nyatili nantela unya.
And especially as a result of enforcing school rules.
Surtout me alongo ka karamundo sartu me alongo yo lel tamandi me alongo karamole a fo ko inyanna kelale.
Obviously, I never thought I was going to be a target when I was executing or enforcing school rules.
Nena mamira ko nte bekela moti telbe inyalo la menkang andu tumo nte bekaramula sartu le tamandi kang.
Can we resume this very interesting car journey? Tell us what happened next.
Simurno nyimuro alla insilo kamba motola boro nyinga me alongo anyabo warabage be me fokan ngamuro abokamba.
So when we came and passed Farato and we were now driving within the periphery of the forest.
Sa imbrinta mbita Farato la bitun silambe ntembeta wulo tembo fe
Going towards Birkama.
mbita nganteli Birkama la utumo.
Just around where the abattoir is right now, where they sell these ruminants.
Dame ya ko ninsi fadula bejele kanyimbe ya mesemulu wafi dame.
When we approached, I saw the guy signal towards inside the forest.
Birin katarajela ngaje moto signalo. Moto signalo ke katilingulo mafawala.
So at that juncture,
Bitun wotembo
I concluded
nanna ko kumfajele
that it was the end of me.
nko je ntela kulube banta janne.
We drove deep inside the forest,
Ndunta hanfo wulo kono.
but I cannot tell you the amount of prayers I offered.
Ngadua mbeke oto nte ufono laje.
We went inside, we saw some women fetching firewood.
Ntata wulo kono no muso dolu je ulubelo nyini ngola.
So the vehicle was parked and nobody came down.
Ye moto londe bari mo manji.
Until when the women disappeared,
Hanfo muso lubota je tembo men.
the four of them came out of the car.
Imona no beji ta moto kono.
They left me inside.
Ye ndam mandu moto kono.
So they went behind the car and talked among themselves.
Itata moto ko mai da manglu dia mutaji.
And then I was told now to come down.
Mutumole ko ngaji moto kono.
When I came down,
Brinjita
I was told to remove my shirt
ko nganna dondi kobo.
and my innerwear, the singlet I put on.
Ani nanje so men ngadum.
I was also told to remove my trousers,
Ko nganna kurto fana urang.
although my pants were left with me.
Bitun nadu makurto do ne benna.
So I was forced to lie on my stomach.
Ko nam bitim kono kan.
The Alpha Bar was having a pistol.
Alpha ba kidindingo bobulu otumo.
Well, I was praying and I think my prayers were answered. But where I knew I was not going to be killed,
Nduata andung ala nada dua jabe bari ngalo ndamen ko item fala.
when they told me to undress,
Biri ko nganna fengul urang.
Alpha Bar took the pistol out
Alpha ba yin kidindingo bondi.
and said to me, Mr. Mballow, if you attempt to do anything stupid by trying to run and escape here,
Alpha ba ko nyotumo le ni hakilinta ya ko kijang ilafta ya burla kabojang.
you see this pistol, I'm going to blow off your head.
Ngoyin kidindingo jele mbeku janjana nyin kesolela.
I said to him, the only way that I can manage to escape you people is if I have supernatural powers.
Nka entede ni sila kilin sikana nwal mawalela. Natara nketa kumfanu nteote.
And unfortunately, I don't have any supernatural powers.
Andung ala ya kente manka kumfanu ntete.
I said, because right now, looking at the situation here and looking at your faces,
Adun say mbetembo mento jang aning ateli nyada lu benyami.
if I have the means to disappear from you or fly away from you, I will do it.
Ninga nyin londo soto kayema wala katika bwali kono jambe olekela.
I said, but I cannot do that.
Bari nte okenora.
But even if you are going to kill me,
Bari nali bemfala.
I will tell you the truth.
Mbeto nya fulali ene.
The allegation that I insulted Yaya Jammeh is totally false. It has just been manufactured and leveled against me. I have never said it. And that's the whole truth. The rest is left to you to judge. He said, I'm here at your disposal, you can do whatever you want to do. But I have told you the truth. So carry on with whatever you want to do. Because he said, if I run, they will blow my brain. I said, they are not going to kill me. Because if they were going to kill me, he would not be warning. So that gave me more courage. When I lied on my stomach, Alpha took his boots and stepped at the back of my neck. So there are these local whips. They are made from animal skin. They locally call them lemar. General Alaji Martin was the first one that took that out from, I don't know where he actually took it off, whether he was tying it on the west or where, but he was the one who took one out. I just saw him swinging that one. General Alaji Martin le mo floti menyi le maro bondi. Aya bondi dami malom fa be sitting na tel to numba fa bondi dami malom baratele folo le maro findindi ka finja. And he started beating me at the back. Atele liparo damuta. So because my hands were not tied, but why Mballow city? I was using my arms to break the whip so that it does not reach my back, but I couldn't. It was just an attempt. It was not possible. Mballow leta durunka fombe aduna karawaso ninkotema. Bare wamana ke kudime yankanandi karawaso kafutama.
So just explain the effect of the lemar whip when it came into contact with your skin.
Silang nyille maro wana nyimbuso nyingi yeli pa menna fo isa fo no nyibirita da fo yeli bala bala jato bala anara na mun kole yakunde sabu ibalola.
You see, the lemar is such that if you hit somebody with it, you remove it, it comes out with the top skin. Lemaro mu fenniti me yanon ko nemo busala buso nyimboita dame nabe bolaje anino bala fateo ka wutu nyolale. So there were a lot of lacerations and cuts on my arms and at my back, at my buttocks, at my thighs, at the back. Wea sabu dula jama faran tambalo bala dame ya lonko mbala fate wututa kabirin koto ngutolu mbulolu fokatan desolu bala. So when Alaji Martin finished, bring Alaji Martin ye bandi, he gave to Malafikor. Di Malafikor la. He also beat me in tone, and he also took his round. So they then passed the whip to the one they were calling Nakeba. Who was the leader of the trip, and that was Daba Marena. He was the leader of the gang called Daba Marena. That's the person they called our elder. Daba also took his turn on my skin. Daba fanang ya alawato ta kambala jato lipa. So Alpha Ba was having the pistol, he really never laid a whip on me. Alpha Ba de kidinding bolo bulu bare ateman karwaso ta kalipa. But these other three people beat me in turns. I think each gave me maybe more than 15 or so lashes. Nyimmo sabode ulbele mbute ngamira mumondi mbije alali paro tatale fosinya tanni lulu wala mense.
And how long did this whipping session take?
Nyimbusaro dum wicheo menta ila miro ta wati jelesi. Maybe each would take some time, perhaps about 5 or more minutes, because sometimes I will want to lie on my stomach and he said, lie back, and this man will continue to stamp at the back of my neck. So at least each took close to 5 or 7 minutes beating. Asikeno nyilikliwo kili liparo wicho menka bita community lulu kata community worola kato hanin kombe mamana isi wurin kuna nyindon singo lori ntongo kang asa fonyeng tenkun ila so bitum feretije.
And this was continuous.
And
because they did it in turns.
Exactly.
So what happened eventually?
Eventually, I was told to get up.
Did they do anything else to you apart from whipping you?
Certainly, actually, before starting to whip me, I had my purse where I put some of my documents. So they snatched the purse away from me, opened to search inside what was there. They saw one of my pay slips. And as an HTC graduate teaching, I thought I was getting very good salary. Because even if my salary was not good, I thought my salary was better than the soldier's salary at the time. But to my surprise, this soldier saw my pay slip. I said, look at you, poor teacher, this poor salary. Well, I had nothing to say that. I just kept quiet and kept looking at them. And as they were whipping me, they kept calling me names, insulting. Even my parents were insulted.
What kind of names were they calling you?
Well, I may not be able to repeat some of the insults now because my parents, biological parents, were being insulted heavily. So I hope the commission will forgive me not to repeat those words here. Since both my parents are late, I think I should allow them to rest peacefully. I don't want to mention or repeat what they used to say. When this beating was going on and the insults were being rained on me as well, I was also protesting that no, you are accusing me falsely, that the allegation was false. I did not insult Yaya Jammeh. I kept reminding them that. Until the session ended, I was told to get up and put my shirt on. Unfortunately, the shirt was white. With the lacerations and blood oozing out of my back. The clothes were all stained with blood. Well, that was how I was put in the vehicle back. They didn't ask me if I smoke cigarette. Then I was a heavy smoker. I said yes, and they gave me some cigarette to smoke.
So the journey back was quite different from the journey coming.
Yes.
The
journey going was traumatizing. But when we were coming, we were even chatting. There was hope. I said to myself, my prayers have been answered. So now that I am going back, I think I'm going to live long. One thing also that perhaps I will associate that to is because I think at that time, I don't think there were any junglers at the time. But after hearing what the junglers have been doing here in this TRRC, I would thank God that I will definitely, that I am actually a lucky guy.
Nata ala tentu koto ntemu moleti ala imanta bale bendinte.
And why is that the case?
Muna sababu tawala, muna udaliloti.
Because the allegation against me at the time was made so grave that if they were jungulers handling me,
kadu ye tumirolu menu fonte ma woni sangara tanyami wotembo na atara wotumo jongla solu be kering.
maybe they were going to finish maybe the plastic bag before we got to the forest.
Asikeno isin intela dunia dandi ibe nylon buso le bitila kumoto dro ye nakulu banje janimbe fralane uloko.
Maybe there are ropes before we got to the forest.
Wallahi ni be ka faro ka be road men julol men la.
In fact, when we got to the forest, when they got down and they were talking amongst themselves, I thought they were looking around where they could dig my grave here so that after killing me, they will bury me there. It was until when Alpha told me that if you attempt to do anything stupid, you see this pistol, I will blow off your head. That was the time I said, oh, thank God, they are not going to kill me again.
Bring Alpha kwenye kutumo menana kwenye pistoloje. Ni ko be hakilinta ya ku kala jam wala ka fo be borla mbe ku mutela nyinki kidole kesola bring mo fota utumo lom a nsondo mo muruta non domande utumo to nyili tem fala.
So from the forest, we were coming back, and then I didn't know where again we were going to. But I knew, I had confidence now, nothing again is going to happen because they have done what they wanted to do. I initially thought they were going to take me up around my area and just allow me to go. So we were chatting on our way back, unlike when we were going. And the admonition that they gave me in the vehicle was that teachers like writing. But if we see this story in any paper, written by you, and will you grant interview to any journalist? With regards to this case, that we know your house, you will, that will be the end of you. We will get you and kill you and nobody will know where you are. I said, yes, I know, but I will never write this and I will never say this to anybody.
And do you know the reason why you were given this warning?
Maybe they did not want the world to know what was happening.
They wanted to cover up their activities.
Exactly.
Please go on.
So we moved back. No, I was not released. Then we passed my house. Then we came to Banjul area again. I said, So I said, maybe now they are taking me back to the NIA again. Again, we came to the NIA area. They didn't go there. They went right inside Banjul. Until we came to the police station, I said, okay, they are bringing me to the police. This was few minutes after 4 p.m. Offices had just closed from work. And I was ushered into the police station with my bloody clothes. It was during the hot season. Yeah, I had a hand towel that I used to go to work because, I used to sweat a lot. Because of the lacerations on my arms, with my white shirt all bloody,
anin nadondi ka koyo beketa yoloti
I was ashamed to be seen in that condition.
nyinkita nyamaloti pour moli yenjo nyama.
So I took the hand towel and wrapped my arms and sat like this with my arms wrapped so that people passing would not see the blood.
Ngawo bullet serbeto leta ngambulolu murmura kono pour tambilalu menu be tambilam be sirin dameng ikanaje menkata mbala jato be nyami.
I was handed over to the police station.
Yen samba yendi police station o molula.
The officer on duty there.
Mutumo member duty la dokula member dokola otembo yen nakolu diwolela.
My arrival was booked in their police diary.
Nafuto je ya safe police la bukubato ila diary kono.
And they were instructed to detain me incommunicado.
Adu yenyi ya marole dia ko isimuta je bari imalla fennimo yediam.
Then I was taken into the detention hall.
Yen samba molu sindi dinkirato ka molu sindi dameng.
I was not put in the cells actually.
Tonya imandundi selo kono de.
There was a big hole around the cells where detainees were.
Je mudin kira fanun neti bari selo lube je ma famalla bari mutamolu fanalu bije le menu mantra selo ka ni mammenu dundi selo kono ka tana dami.
I found many detainees there.
Ngamo jamata na je de menu muta.
A good number of them were arrested during the Algali Commission.
Mo jamabe kono yol muta Algali Commission tumolela.
So we established friendship.
Bitu materia choke nyote majele.
So I was called the teacher turned detainee.
Mutumole mbitu kamkumande karamundu moro meya muta.
Well, we were joking. Then I was there.
Na ke tulunkuoti bari bitu mbije.
At St. Augustine's,
Karamundo
staff were very concerned about my welfare.
Karamundo moro lumenu bije nako yolu deum bake.
Because the majority of the staff were non-Gambians.
Katu mensi ata karandirilalu konoje imanke Gambian kati.
So what they were saying was that if something like this could be done to a citizen,
Be men fo kanu wala nyinti ko ning banku dingo ni nyom ku fason sekeno wala.
how about us non-citizens?
Wato ndel men mulunta multidun tolbun na ko be nyadile.
My friends were looking for me.
Terolu be nyinin kan.
They didn't know where I was.
Imalo mbelun damen.
Luckily for me,
Bare alat manta be mo kamma.
when I arrived at the station, when they brought me at the station,
Buri en sambana station auto.
the current DIG
Me mo sayen police la cordatiote DIG anolanko
was a college batch mate,
no be karanta nyola le college
and we were members of the sub-union executive.
aduntel be mo yunono la karla kafo nyaton kolleti.
We used to be the secretary general
Lek kanun secretary general ti
of the sub-union Brikama campus.
o sub union wala mo karla kafo ti Brikama campus.
I used to be the social secretary.
Ntele mo social secretary tinu wotumo me marta hadama ya kolla
So we know each other very well.
nga nyolon kendeke.
We had just also closed from his office.
Can you tell us who this individual was?
ina mjumati nyimari mjumalde
This is Abdullah Sanyang.
Ate ka fayne Abdullahi Sanyang.
He's the current Deputy Inspector General of the Gambia Police Force.
Atelom police la kundon ko no lanko ti nyin tembeng.
When he closed, he came down through the police station
Bila jita do ko la police station nyin kuna jita nan duma
and saw me sitting
ay nje siring.
with blood all over my body.
Mballow be ni yelo.
He said to me, Mballow, what's the problem?
Ako Mballow mune keta.
I said, is this State House people did this to me?
Nka state house ko le nyin kenna.
They brought me here.
Andu ina tanna ti jang.
So he went to the counter and asked about the matter.
Atata ila konti waro to purkan na ko nyin kaje.
He was told that I was detained there, brought in there by the State House officials,
Nyin fayin ko state house la molle na tiji.
and instructed that I should be detained incommunicado.
Adu yenyi ya marole di ko isimuta nyama nimmo kanadiam.
He felt very bad as a friend.
Wakati ni ko ya kubati katun terlo.
I even observed some tears rolling down his cheeks.
Ngakoro sifang akumbota le anyaji ulbota.
He said to me he was traveling that afternoon to Dakar.
Go ayina fanyon ko tilbulo le manyanta tamala kata Dakar.
Then I was sharing an apartment with a colleague of mine, and he was also teaching with me at St. Augustine's.
Utumo du ninka fanyon ma dole denta bumula memfana be karandiro la utumo St. Augustine's.
One bar S Jabi.
Ikafa ba es jabi.
So he said he was going to communicate to Baez about the fact that I was at Banjul Police.
Ako abenyin kibaro dila ba jabila ne purka fa mbe Banjul Police.
Ba made several attempts that Thursday to see me, not possible.
Ba ya fer jamaka wolum purka nyaje purka nteje bari amanjeno.
Because the Banjul police station officers were afraid to bring me out because they were instructed by the State House guys that I should be detained in Comunicado.
Kato police membe Banjul station rotumo imang hanyi. Wairi yenyi ya marole dila ko iman la fen nimmo yediamu wala na ulmang hanyi purka mfentindi nim ba
Mr. Mballow, how long did you stay in Banjul police station? How long were you detained there?
Mr. Mballow, it at the Morocco no Banjul police station for what did you do?
It's about 4 or 5 days because I was brought in there on Thursday.
Stata fatil nani til lulukadu yanati je aramisa lumule.
Slept there Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday morning I was released.
Nganla je wo jumo suto sibito dimaso tenemo somanda yambulan saita.
And during this time, were you charged with any offense?
Hani foko wato la fo inarna tumiro le kande banka fo ko Mr. Mballow yenyine ke elu ala tinya andu elu abunda mendenya wala myenne nyindi fo yo fo ene ba.
I was not told that I was being charged for any offense. But my authorities at Senegosins were told that I was going to be charged for willful damage of property. And that I was going to be prosecuted by the state.
And can you tell us what property you willfully damaged?
And for ya for na ba yemu gwandi jorana tinya ani tilimbali yakono.
Yeah, it was a shot. Very one that I was sold at the NIA. That was the one I was accused of damaging.
And that never happened.
I did the shot was not actually damaged because I just got small. I said go and complete the cutting here and aim it there.
I meant, were you actually charged with willful damage of the shorts?
Enarna tumiro le kanda bankafu ko dianyo kan ye wandi fengotinya akaka wala nyininga. Fo ye tumiro le kana ko ye wala tinyaba.
To this point I have not been charged for any willful damage of property.
Did you receive any medical attention for your injuries?
Hello, barmo nyin kono fo inarna jaralo sura kono.
Yeah, the beating took place on Thursday. I slept at Banjul Police in that condition without any medical attention.
Busaro ketan aram salumale. Ngala Banjul Police Station wala nyama manjara li soto mamma ko soto.
With all the lacerations on my body.
Farul membebe mbala jato bala utumo.
Following day, on Friday, that was the 6th of October. An officer from Banjul Police there escorted me to the police clinic in the police barracks. The lacerations were cleaned and dressed.
But up to that point, you had the same clothes on.
I had the same clothes I put on again.
Sorry. Kabro you cool nyinkela for what wala ku fenkilimo dum fenkilimo la wala tar dundila.
Ha no dundi ka kilimo le dunde ngole say mbala.
It was the same bloody clothes I put on after dressing me.
Rien dress foka pare o dondi ka may yelo soto ngo dondi ka yelema kilimo le dum.
Do you know why the police chose to take you to that particular police clinic instead of any other hospital like the RVTH, for example?
Yeah, no, mandari lo me asabo police ol ni ye tombondro ke pour que samba e fangol la l'hôpital to membe la korda baro me samba e bankola l'hôpital baro.
My understanding is that if I was taken to the RVTH, they would not touch me until they knew what exactly happened to me.
Na fa muru nyinde ko ni samba banyo l'hôpital no wol benyo fala koy bulote mala na han fo ya lo mune ketanna.
So that is another example of the police or the NIA covering their tracks in your case?
Amundo fanamu ku dol me alon ko police wol warando NIA yola silota pour que fang sansangala.
Exactly, ma.
Wala mtonyati.
What happened after you left the police clinic?
Muna na ke be ni boda police wol jaral dinkirado.
That was on Friday the 6th.
Wala arjumo di karoti woro.
I went back to the police station. I stayed like that.
Murundi police station oto nturaje wala nyama.
All this while, I have never taken bath anyway. So that Friday, my friend Ba Jabi continued to try to see me at the police. But to no avail. The following day, on the 7th, or was on Saturday, he tried hard. And there was an officer on duty on Saturday evening that sympathized with him. And warned him that he should not tell people that he had allowed him to see me. Because they were instructed to detain me in Comunicado. I was brought out of the detention hall and came behind the counter. I greeted with Mr. Jabi, we spoke, we exchanged some words. He really felt sorry for what happened to me. Since we were sharing apartment, he looked at my clothes were bloody. I said to him, if you could bring me a trouser and shirt, let me change those clothes. Following day, Sunday, I think Sunday was on the 8th. He came in the morning to bring me the clothes. He was not allowed access. He came back again in the evening. It was those morning officers who denied him access had closed and gone home. So the afternoon shift officers were more reasonable to him. At least they allowed him access to see me again and give me the clothes to change. And I went in and changed my dress.
What happened to your bloody clothes?
I took the bloody clothes. I took those bloody clothes and put them in the plastic bag that Mr. Jabi brought my other clothes and kept them with me at the detention hall.
Munta no fendo ludum Mr. Jabi menu natinye na fendo lura meni alonko ulbeni elole ngolu urang ngediala.
Were you eventually released from the Banjul police station?
Following day on the 9th was Monday.
Asumo lem tenamoti karoti kononto.
An NIA officer came to pick me from the Banjul police station.
NIA do kulana takanang kama Banjul police station.
But before this Monday, the previous Sunday, when Jabi brought me the clothes. When he was going home, he joined the same vehicle with one Mr. Babakale Jallo, then the current staff, executive secretary, I think, of the Trrc.
Animo denta motola me ya lonko ka fa Babakale Jallo bo bitum wala moti me ya lonko atelam executive director the member the Trrc jang.
He was then working for the Observer newspaper. Mr. Jabi told him about my ordeal.
Mr. Jabi
he requested to get my photograph so that he could publish the story on the Observer newspaper the following day. But Jabi said to him, well, no, he could just publish the story without my picture.
Mr. Jabi
and because the Observer didn't had a wide circulation, That if my picture was put on the paper, probably my mother in the village would have seen my picture there and begin to wonder what was happening.
Kato utumo nimba mayenne natalo je kibar kaito bala ube santo sate otu abina kela ide umbate asi mira muna bekering.
And then people will read the paper and explain to her.
Andu molisi kibar kaito nyin karano ya fay menketa.
So that could have affected her.
Mense keno muskeba nye batati.
But if the picture is not there, I wouldn't be known.
Ber nin natalo tije itelonna.
Because you wouldn't know that it is me. But the moment you put my picture there, when you see the picture, you know it's me.
Ber nin natal tije de atalon na jumalon. Ber nin natalo kije faya jidonga balon na kontelo.
Mr. Mballow, was a story eventually published about your case in the Observer newspaper?
Yes, Mr. Mballow, ko nyi nya labo nyi ila kibaro nyi na janjang kibar kairo nyi Mballow mem Observer diba.
Yes, the following day on the 9th, it was published in the Observer newspaper, and I remember the title was "A Teacher Picked Up by the NIA."
Ila na kibar kaito bala de observer kato nyine safeje kram moro sotonda NIA uli memuta.
And I would just like to raise a point with you, Mr. Mballow. I understand Baba Galejalo was actually an editor at the Daily Observer newspaper in 1995, so he wasn't actually a reporter. Is it possible that your friend may have gotten his identity wrong?
Asikeno ila wotero ama faham Baba Galejalo be palaso mendo nun kato editor le mwati nun amanke reporter di. Editor wala ka kibaru lukumben kibar kaito bala.
That was not a wrong identity. He was the very one. That was the author of that story.
You don't have a copy of that newspaper, do you?
You don't have a copy of that paper.
Thank you very much.
Maybe it was just a mistaking in title, but it was because I know the Baba Gale, he was my head boy, and I knew him a long time ago.
Namira afilta ko Kenya le madurum bari nga Baba Gale lo notumo atele munna talibe nyato.
Thank you for clearing that up. I just thought I should bring it up.
In fact, I think it was as a result of the publication of the story on the Observer newspaper that Monday, the 9th October.
Namira inata ukibaru mfindindi Observer balatenango October karotli kononto.
That even facilitated my release.
Ule fauna atake dalilo tiyembula.
Because it was that story, I think, that made the authorities knew about my detention, like my chief education officer at the time.
Ngalo wale fauna atake kuti namu jamaa bota namu to kala makomemu kunto nkoti londi gunda la karola ikafame chief education officer.
Late IML Drame.
Ikafame IML Drame utumo wala bije tala IML Drame.
He was busy rolling up and down between the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education, the NIA, and St. Augustine's High.
Ule wanata kiabulu katakubati abe taman na St. Augustine Ministry tema aning NIA abe ulu taman ka utumo.
To know exactly what happened.
Puruka long utumo mune famketa.
We worked hard
Ayakata back
to secure my release.
Puru sembula.
And my unconditional release for that matter.
Andu natambula manna dem femfen na mankulaka.
And before the publication, of course, you've already told us that you were being concealed at the Banjul police station, and it was ordered that you should be detained incommunicado. So the NIA did not want anyone to know that you were actually detained there.
Janni be bula ya fa janko ye samon Banjul police station or anu NIA le kamol mendi Banjul police station do kula wala mindi ko ye tara maro kono ji andu ilo maro nyi ini mota diamula ini mo kana nyoje.
That's correct.
Wala mtuanyati.
So when your story came to light, they were basically forced to release you.
Munda kabila kibaro nya janjanda ronga munda force on detonata le kampuru isibula.
Yes, when the story was published, Mr. Drame, the late IML Drame, then obviously went to the NIA to find out because it was his teacher that was involved.
Biri kibaro fundita observer kibar kaito bala. Tala IML Drame manasi kotake atata NIA kato ala karandirla utumo yole muta.
So he pleaded with them so that I could be released.
In
fact, that Monday on the 9th, when the NIA officer went to collect me from the Banjul police station, IML was already at the NIA with the DG, the Director General, and all the unit directors. IML from the NIA officer.
woto anila director general ani
Officer came to Banjul Police that Monday morning.
bringing NIA do kulana ta Banjul police wotena ngosomanda.
SO, I remember him as one Mr. Kamara at the time.
Ka fome SO hakilo baka ka fine wotumo Mr. Kamara wotembo.
He called me from the detention hall. Teacher.
I'm commandi teacher kan commandi nan kabona mutari ngudutara dinkirato.
And I answered.
Nandanku.
My colleague detainees were saying, oh, teacher, I think you are going to be lucky. Maybe they are releasing you today.
Betun nimmenu be muto kono je wa wol ko nyen teacher sikeno nyimme manta berole te kato sikeno yebula bi.
I said, maybe.
Nko aseke.
So he said, come out here, bring your bag.
Akonye fintinan ila sakoso nati.
Then I got my plastic bag that was containing my bloody clothes, the ones I changed.
Otumo lem nganna nylon mbuso nylon boto nyinta na feto fatolu mene ya lonko ngewura yelobe menu bala ngeke wala kono ngochika.
When I arrived, he said to me, teacher, I'm going to grant you self-bail.
Birim tataje akonye teacher mbenyin dile la pruye fam bail
in the sum of $1,000.
ibede la suguli kilimne jola.
I said, so what do you mean by self-bail?
Anka eso wokoto mumuneti ke fam bail.
He said, you are going to sign the bail bond to bail yourself.
Ita fangla be bail kaito nyi sign la ke fam bail.
If you run away,
Ni borta
you will pay $1,000.
ibede la suguli kilin jola.
I said, Alhamdulillah.
Nko ala tentu.
And how would you pay the $1,000 if you ran away?
Sai
ni da borda sai mo wili kilimo ni de bo jono la nyaade to mala me de borda.
Well, at that juncture, I knew I was a lucky guy, that I was going to be released.
Otembo ngani mutako dronga ketanya manta bengaleti be mbula lale.
Because he said, I am going to bail myself.
Akom bem fam bail lale.
And if I run, I pay $1,000.
Adu nimbor dambe dala suguli kilin jola.
I was just eager to leave that place. I just concluded that, hey, I'm a lucky guy. My prayers have been answered now.
Unto be hawjarin na kaboje nko woto sila wode woto ala yenna duwalu jabile bari lafta kaboje.
Where did you go next?
Sai itara min do la kotanke.
From there now, I was escorted by that NIA officer to the NIA office in Banjul.
Bitumbirim bata jewo NIA yendanda na tata nyola NIA office banyin to Banjul.
I was taken upstairs to the DG's office.
Yen samba santo bunja santo DG la office woto.
Who was the DG?
Mana mun korda dio de na e wato.
The NIA Director General at the time was one Sambaba that used to reside in Sukuta.
Utumo NIA Director kunton kumu moleti kafaye Sambaba bara mari utembo be sabatiri in Sukutale.
Is he still alive?
Oh, balur na hanin kabiba.
No, I said late.
Nkole membanta atakerin sign.
Thank you for that.
Nyomba purila wasena.
So, in his office, I found himself and the Chief Education Officer at the time, the late IML Drame.
Ala office kono nga famataraje anin tala IML Drame mem londi bunto kuntan kote ni wotumo Chief Education Officer.
And most of the unit directors at the NIA.
Anin NIA la bunda nyaton kakote ngolu.
Can you tell us who they were, if you remember? The directors.
Foi hakilo si utolo murano la bang menu be do gola na je obundal la je.
I don't know all of them, but there is one person that I knew before he even started working at the NIA.
Mebe londe barmo kilimbije ngamello hani janni ngabe do ko datila NIA.
He was a long-time police officer and he worked in the provinces for long, especially Bansang.
Police le mole meta police do ko la bake adunga nene wati janke Bansang.
I knew his real name, but I forgot. But I know the common name, they call him Tatin Baji.
Ato famu mendi nyina tala bareka fine otumo mo jamaa ka komandi mena wala Tatin Baji.
During this time, he was the director of operations at the NIA.
Otembo atelem director ti do kulu sambanya karola NIA.
Do you know if Tatin Baji was otherwise known as Landing Baji?
Tatba je foi ala na bang ato foi ka fate landim ba.
That's the very name.
Wala famu atoti.
Please continue.
So, as I entered Sambaba's office,
Ndulta sambabala office kono nyamin.
with all these people seated,
Nimbebe siri nje otumo.
Samba looked at me up and down and said, the allegation against him is false. He did not insult the chairman.
bira njube du mani santo ko yo kuma kensangole la nyina nyimman chairman neng.
How did he come to that conclusion just by looking at you up and down?
Samba bana no ranyade le ko nyin ka kuntu dingira ron ke jube duma ka duma fo santo ron ka fo ite man person man kiaman imane.
Maybe that it was his security expertise.
Asikeno waire kantada nyaton ko le muati ala londilo moti tumandulu ay mensoto ala sondomoto.
But I respected that opinion because it was a correct opinion.
Bari ngalo ngani bunya bake katu tonya ayolefo.
So, well, I told him, sir, you are very right. I never insulted the chairman.
Nga sa itonya la ntene na man chairman neng.
I was told to sit.
Ikongasi.
And they narrated everything.
Yakobe sata.
And then warned me to desist from being involved in such things.
Yandandala purun kana lunyi nyong kufasongulu kono.
And at that point, they said it was unfortunate that it was a verbal instruction I took from my supervisor.
Ikonyin keta bitu kukebaloti na nyaton kola ya maro nga woleta meyalonko.
That was the instruction to cut the student shorts.
Wala mkamoti puri ila nyaton ko kamamendi la puri karamudo de nonyin na kuroni yakuntu domande.
Exactly, that was the instruction. And that in fact, after I was taken and detained, whatever happened to me was done to me. According to them at the NIA, they said they met my supervisor, Mr. Sabali, and Mr. Sabali denied authorizing me to do the act.
Between member na takendela NIA and member tambita. Iko inatatale purkate Mr. Sabali nyininka. But at fananga takemodi meyo beso so akate mandibula wala.
That was what the NIA told me, that Sabali told them that he was even disappointed in me.
Ate NIA ule nyina fanyanko, ate Sabali fanko, ate jikila theater lentela karola.
That the student in particular, Dembaba, was one of the most disciplined boys in the school.
Kutalibo lumembe karamuto je Dembaba mutalibe litime alonka tebe talibe kulurim balle kono karamuto je.
So such revelations were just, baffling to me.
With all
the beatings I received at the forest, no tears dropped from my eyes. But the moment they told me that my supervisor who instructed me denied giving me the instructions, I cried. Asked what was wrong. I said I was betrayed. But there and then I said to the NIA, but you should have confronted me with Mr. Sabali, because Sabali cannot sit. I sit with CI table and he denies. So they said, well, you are lucky, it is all over now, because actually I was not their target. That it was either the principal, Mrs. Rena, or my supervisor, Sabali himself, were the targets.
Did they tell you why Sabali or your principal, Mrs. Rena, were the targets?
Oh, yeah, fun.
How come they missed that target so far?
Ila ya marla Mr. Sabali and Mrs. Reina wala muila dolingo ni ala wala bari ifota wala la fo ya fo ndalilo me azabu ifota wala.
They did not tell me why Mrs. Rena or Sabali were the targets.
Mafanye de munana ilafte bulola la Mrs. Rena kan wala Sabali mo dalilo fanyi.
That they didn't also tell me how they missed the target and got the wrong one.
What they
told me at the time was that it was unfortunate that it had to be me, even though I was not the target. But that was what they said.
Were you able to verify the story they told you about Sabali?
So, even for Sabali,
I did not verify the story because I really did not believe them. Mr. Sabali that I worked with,
Mr. Sabali
He's a strong guy. I don't expect him to give me those instructions and be intimidated by the NIA and deny ever instructing me to do that.
Mole me alon kate fana mumo bambandi ngolti ando atele ya marodina bari ma me rata sike moti me alon ko hanning NIA uliya nyenenka asina kumo soso.
And another thing that also made me disbelieve them
Andun kudo fana nata kendi me ya kendi mallela
is the fact that they refused to confront me with Mr. Sabali.
ulem nyinti balante mamparente ni Mr. Sabali ni toliye nyoje.
Because I mentioned in my statement, if they went to him and interviewed him, he said no, he was not the one, we should have been brought together on the normal circumstances.
Nanyi mfonna kumakansa fero kono na statement ko ni hanyini ka balanta wodo ya kata yembe bendi bari mampare wala
Because they did not do that,
bari ma woke
I really did not believe them.
wala na mallela.
Yes.
So what happened to you eventually? Were you released?
Manar na ke tela nyala bang fo inar ni bulala bang.
That Monday, we discussed everything. Mr. Drame, the late IML, told the NIA chiefs present at that meeting that he was sorry and he apologized on my behalf, and that as a government teacher posted in that mission school, St. Augustine's, I wouldn't be able to continue to work there again.
Mr. Drame adia muteye bitun ayebolo sai akoyen ko bari bitun mutem nyimuma sakunda karandirlalti bari sai mbetembo mento ate continue no la wairi o karambuno amanka masakunda karambundi nyin dina bunda karambuno le kafada me mission school.
And of course you said, you had already said that Sambaba said you were innocent just by looking at you, so that apology was really not necessary, was it?
Oto ya fo jang ko sambaba biri dundar non sambaba biri ngai jumbe ka budu ma fo sandor nga ko imam fenke ite mo modi manan ko isene ya dale oto san ya jelo ya nyaadi la ko ya ayo bolo so menke o na fatala.
I agree with you.
Nsonta
Please go on.
And then
So that as a government teacher, IML said he was going to remove me from St. Augustine's with immediate effect.
wairi ndemu masakunda karambundo moroldi IML ko abembundila wo mission karambuto wo noto
That he was going to transfer me to a government school.
oto sayin aben sawundila kan samba masakunda karambuto
So I was handed over to IML now.
o jelem yenakol be chika yadi IML la.
But my plastic bag that contained the clothes stained with blood
But not plastic bottle na feto fatolu yellow be menu bala ulbe menkono.
were confiscated at the NIA.
Yolu busi na NIA mansor nieta.
Can you tell us why?
fo sa fo no nya muna ya sabu.
Yeah, I think it was just to conceal everything because I could have used those things as evidence or exhibits.
Nga mera purke la kolu nu wala lilole ya sabu. Gatuno bende bulo musede koyoleti kafo ye nyini nyine kenna obekela ntala sedoleti.
I think that was why they seized the clothes.
Nga mera wala na yo feto fatolu busi na.
And this was not the first time they were trying to conceal evidence, because they did so in the car by telling you not to say anything to the press.
And
And
then you
then
might
they took you to the police barracks clinic.
ni mange follow te puru ka kol mabo me alan ko yole kela ka to wato men yesam ba i foreso do fanang i be sendi kan wato men ya fo ne yedan dalale ko nin kumo ini mo kana kacha andu kana ini journalist kana kumo kacha kabrin ye lifa fana yena de banjul police station of ro me samba masa kunda lo bitano fo yesam be famon lo bitano do be mu kula de me alan ko ya ke mune kam wala ke fam mabo ko nyin kono aisa akana wanyar.
And now they're seizing physical evidence of your torture.
And silang liparo me fon jaro me an ko yole ke jaro la o fana ibo fana maboka.
All that is correct.
Ube mtonyalti.
What happened after all of this?
Na na ke nyukul be ke nkola ikan.
So when I was handed over to the late IML Drame,
Buri yenchika yendum tala IML drame bulu.
he left the NIA office for St. Augustine's High.
Mbota NIA officer kata St. Augustine's High karambudo.
The teachers were so worried and concerned.
Karambudo moro lumen bije wayatara ibe dewunding ibe sularing.
They were also threatening that unless my whereabouts was known or I was released, they were going to go on strike.
Mutumu wol fanal be nyum fokanko. Ning imang mbula wala iman tara dulalong imang kalangolong ifanal be gere okela wala mebe balambaya kala karambudo.
So the principal also did not want them to strike.
Karambudo sute fanam man lafiyo balambaya ke.
She kept pleading with them that they were walking behind the corridors to make sure that I was released.
ya nyim fo karamuto moro lion ko du kana gere woke itel fana be la kato dam ke kanne komala pour nyin kamala isen tabulano nyame.
We even found them having a staff meeting.
Na ita fan karamuto moro be bengole ke kanje wotumo.
So when we arrived, their staff meeting was interrupted.
Birim futaje elawo be nga kuntu.
All of them were happy to see me.
Bese wota bake pour kanteje.
So myself, the late IML and the principal, Madam Rena, we went into the principal's office.
Ndekuno Madam Rena aning IML ndunta karamuto suti wala office okono Madam Rena.
The late IML explained to the principal, Madam Rena, all that happened. That I was released unconditionally. But then he was going to remove me from the school immediately. Because looking at what happened, the students knew what happened and the teachers knew, so that psychological trauma with me, it would not be ideal for me to continue to work in that school.
Ka abdalilo mem aya fawle mindiko talibolu yalo ne menketa alun karam do morul fanal yalo ne menketa beto be mukuleti me yalo ko o miro mem ben sondo mo kono nya ate nyi nyala pour ma continuer karam bu nyindo.
Ordeal that you went through, how did it affect your professional career?
Men be la te kan ay mun kole akulle sabu famala do ko nyi tamande buloto.
It adversely affected my professional development.
Katu ay sain koma bale natinye na do kula yirwa la tanya to la karola.
Because to be honest with you,
Katu pour kantiliye
from that time, October 1995,
kabo tembo October 1995,
after what happened to me,
menketa na wotumo,
and from what I learned happened to others,
anunata along menketa dulula,
I kept living with that fear that I was always afraid to go out even in the public. This fear was of me on the 21st of January 2017. When Yaya Jammeh boarded the plane at the airport to Equatorial Guinea. That is time I became a free man, a normal human being. But otherwise, I was afraid to be involved with anything. Yes, so it affected my professional development adversely.
You also told me about how it compelled you to do certain things that you didn't even want to do, just because you wanted to feel safe. Can you tell us some of those things?
Yes, because then we used to know that even the grains of sand where you are NIS. So virtually everybody was an NIA operative. So even if I am with my friends and they are talking bad about APRC, I will strongly support APRC. Because I felt that was the way I could also cover up my anger. And I kept voting for Yaya Jammeh. That even in 2016 presidential elections,
And in 2016 President Kartefayo,
I really voted for the APRC.
but
But not because I like the APRC. But I just associated myself with them so that I am safe. Indeed.
So you were not able to express yourself properly,
Never.
politically, because of that fear.
I was. I had initially said here when I was being, whipped at the forest, they were saying that we are the kind of people that hate the leadership of the AFPRC. So even though I was not involved in politics, I was accused of being an opposition.
wato me be mbusa kan wulo kono ka nyina foko atello moliti menu mallafi AFPRC la nyaton kaya la jang bari bitun biri ngaw mira bitun silata wala katanya silandati pour nyin kamala biri ngo ko botala pour mbem famuta la nyam mbem fan sambala nyam mallafi pour la men sina kenya number uti
Then politically I always remained in the hiding. Maybe I can only surface at the side of the APRC then, but not with any other political party.
wotembo ngannu nsi fintino kam fan ka kombe APRC le bari bitun mangani pour ka dende politique party kotena.
Yes.
Can you tell us what the impact of your experience was, your arrest, detention, and torture?
Pesa fona nyinko nyimbe kiran ko la kan ye muda ye liba ye ma ye sindi dula kina ye mun ko ya ko lel sabu ma akoni be kiran ko la ikan.
The impact is traumatizing.
Men sababu ma akatanye munta akatanye kijate waleti.
It's damaging.
Ay tinyaro le kenye.
It's threatening.
Ay silandi.
And psychologically traumatizing.
Adum hanina solo miro atakatanye silamu le tin solo moko.
In fact, I felt I was nothing.
Nanyi mutako tembo ntemanke femfenti.
That was the impact.
Ay ole ko sabu ma.
What about on your family, for example?
La family la karola dum men kele la ba dingol didu. Misal fi.
I know now they learned about what happened, but when the incident was happening, I was not married. I just sent the first caller for my first wife, but I had no child. Now I have got children, but when this was happening, I never had a child.
Abe kala tumo men, otumo musu tembulo. Amunta no kuru kini bule puruka musu nyinin, wo kuru wale mkuru foloti, karafare kuru, wotatale otumo. Bari din tembulo otumo, anu wo karafare kuru wotatale. Sa inde dingulu bembulu, dingulu bembulu, dimbaya bembulu. Bari otumo dimbaya tembulu.
So like the children or the families of all the victims,
Bitum mantoro beta menu kan ko ila dimbaya ila dindingulu.
so my son and daughter and nieces and nephews are looking at me and feeling bad.
Ngalong ndingulu mbari ndingulu ani mbadi kotengulu na dindingulu benjube kandu ngala mandiye
Saying, oh, this was exactly what happened to dad.
ibafala hiyo muna nyine ketantol famala
So he had been living like this.
amunta tebe balurin tennenu
Their friends are also watching me.
itero lu fanam benjube kan
My ex-students are looking at me.
natali be kotolu benjube kan
Some of my ex-students are big people. They are directors.
natali be kotolu dolu bibe place balto dolu mu director leti
Actually, some of my friends knew about this, but very few.
to nyalu tero lu dolu butakala manu wutumo bari mo dantale butakala
Because I did not even trust to discuss this with anybody.
katu tumo malla momondi na prunna yin ko kacha
So it has severe, impact on my family.
wato wala na ay kole ko basi man na dimbaya la karola
And when was the first time you had an opportunity to report this officially?
Wadi jumale mu wado de me alon ko yesilo sura pour ka nyin ko nyin ka bole
ka
banke kene baro.
It was when the Victims Center was established. That was the time I said, well, I'm also a victim. Let me go to the Victim Center and register my case.
o biri ye bunda londi ka fama victim center wolem ye toro la menu kan ila korda ba wolem non ko mbatu mfana ngata mfamfuta ndije ka dum mfana dunta man toro le kono e mellankan
And before that, you couldn't report it to the authorities?
Mda jandi wo enana ma ko nyin ta ka bole santon kolbu nyaton kolbu.
Before the establishment of the Victim Center, I don't know which authority I could have reported to ma.
janni do dinkira lo la victim center malum ba ko mo satala nyaton kanyumale
And even when the Victim Center was established,
bari hani yo victim center lo tumo men na fama wakola
before I even reported the matter there,
bari hani janni mbita ko nyi dantela je
I had to consult with my acquaintances and people who were very close to me and family members.
nimmo jamali nyoje menu katatan nan badin sutungulu anin terik sutungulu ndolu sitale ni kachata ka ko mo faye
Those who are in very high positions in government,
mini alon ko be place balle to man sakunda
so that I sought their opinion on the matter before I reported the case or registered it at the Victim Center.
wotum pour nyin kamala nsi wol fanalu ngani yo nyinin ka nsi nyinin ka la jero momenti pour nsi sen la fa londo la janni me fata la victim center kata ko mo faje.
they all encouraged me to go to the victim center and register the case.
Adu bena tanyin hamo dun to. Purungata victim center ngatanyin kumodundije.
And now that you're here at the TRRC reporting your story to the whole world, how do you feel?
Silang afele ina da TRRC ibe sirinya ya ira kunyi besa da menkede la ko la de kanyamen dunia bebe mwekang ya ko ta nyadile.
I feel relieved now.
Amunta silang nyinkitane niji olete ngani jile amunta nini yaduno bo mokang.
And now the world knows what I went through.
And dunia ya long ndunta men kono.
Before I started my testimony, I had sworn to the Quran
Janimbenna sedaro da mutanga al-Quran al-Karim le mutangan kali.
that I will speak the truth.
Kombe to nyale fola.
So all that I have said here,
And ngamen be fo jang.
nothing is exaggerated.
Fentije ngamen jidindi.
I have exactly said what happened to me.
Men ketanna nyamin ngawale fo ngadandi wala to kak.
To the best of my recollection.
Na hakilo ye memmutano nyamin.
And thank you very much, Mr. Mballow. If you don't have anything else to add, I would end your testimony there.
Inumbara ba ke
For you to
Mr.
the
Mballow
commissioners.
ninga ya tare man fen do so don ko denke be men la faale nak makang kang ben na nyini karo nyin dalal woldo si murundi ngedi commissioner la ni ato nyini karo so
You will have an opportunity to say your final remarks, but if there's nothing else to say as part of your testimony, then I'll hand you over to the chairperson.
besi lo so la pour yela ibe la kuma kang nyin da so na men bar ninga dra kuma do ko sente bul ko deke si la kuma kang ta ngadi commissioner la.
Yes, I have some few remarks to make.
Ha, kumadanta bambulu de left amenu fola.
Can we keep that for your final remarks, if that's okay? Because we will come back to that.
Thank you, Madam.
Yeah, thank you. Mr. Chairman, I hand over the witness to you.
Thank you very much, Council, and thank you, Mr. Mballow, for coming to testify.
Back Mr. Mballow, yes songo menke pour kana sedaro leja.
In view of the hearings that we started this morning,
Itu nganyin sedaro men da mutabiso manda.
and for emphasis purposes for the record,
Pulka kulu bambandi kulu meni alon ko lekata membe safela.
I want to ask you three very, very, very short questions.
Mbe nyinin kala ku sabala meni alon ko ku sutu wolle molti.
Who were the four? Can you name them again? Who took you to the forest?
Immo nanolu meni samba wulo kono ummo nanolu mu jumanyo leti.
The four of them, as I said before,
Mo nanolu nyil kuma funu nyame.
were the late, oh, I'm sorry, Daba Marina,
Lem daba marena,
one Alpha Ba,
ka fama e Alpha Ba,
Malafikor,
Malafikor,
and Alaji Martin.
aning Alaji Martin.
Second question.
Mr.
Among the
Flanker.
four who took you there, who were the three who beat you massively?
Umo nanolu meni sambaji jumanyo le mo saboluti meni alon ko ye busa dimindi mala.
I was massively beaten by
Meni ye busa dimindi mala
Alaji Martin,
Alaji Martin
Malafikor,
Malafikor
and Daba Marina.
nin daba marena.
The last short question,
Nin kar sabanja ko sutuma menti.
were they officials or operatives of the NIA?
Yildu telefonal be NIA do kulaleti bang.
I understood that Daba Marina was an operative of the NIA attached in State House.
Nalonde ko daba marena abedu kula NIA le bari yala palaso sound State House le wutumo.
So the rest, I understand, were members of the State Guard at State House.
Woto malu nga anyin fahamu ko mu State Guard do kulaleti menu be State House.
Thank you very much indeed, and I'm truly sorry that you had to endure so much in the hands of people who were agents of the state.
Numbara bake nyinketa nikuyati kajeko. Mantora balle te kan adum menu yake banko fangla do kulalle muluti.
Thank you, sir.
Commissioners, if you have any questions, I'm going to ask. Deputy Chair, you have the floor, please.
Deputy Chair, une lafte nyininkala.
Thank you, Mr. Mballow.
Numbara Mr. Mballow.
I add my voice to that of the chair in commensurating with you. That you were subjected to such behavior by carrying out your duties.
Monta molu le nyilti men ya lon ko nyin ku do sambe kan andu dum e bela do ko le tamandi kan.
The first question is, is it normal practice
for
matters related to the education sector
to
be communicated via another ministry?
It is absolutely not a normal practice.
Thank you. Second question is, school discipline are internal matters which are related to the school, and the rules and regulations of the school are clearly spelled out to students and parents on admission. And this includes the dress code. Were the parents of this child not informed of the rules and regulations of the school?
Karambung kono kuolu wolumu kulleti meni alonko akadan karambung le kono adun nin dindingo dindimbe dun na karambung to karambung la sartol min tarambululu jama ike koyndi wululalu male anin talibo nyim fan fodo motem bo nyin dindingo la wululalu wala la maramolu folu mo sartolu lonumba.
In all schools, when students come for admissions,
karambung lube nin talibo nata purka dunji.
After admitting them, they are all given the rules and regulations of the school. And these rules are not only meant for the students, they are also meant for the parents, so that the parents will read and understand the rules and help the teachers in enforcing these rules by advising their children or wards accordingly.
And we kakenya kama bulula lufana lusi talibolu nyili ya marika karamundo moro lumako yi puru sarto lusi tamandi eloye bambang.
So St. Augustine's High School was no exception.
Wato St. Augustine karambu nyimfana manka karamundi men data wakono bele dabije.
The parents of the child, I guess,
dindingu nyingulula luna mira
knew the rules of the school.
Yes.
So if there was a valid complaint against a teacher, which was the relevant authority to take the complaint to?
If there was a valid complaint against any teacher,
the
relevant authority to take the complaint to is the Ministry of Education.
Thank
Ministry of Education.
you very much for.
You're welcome.
And the First Lady of the Gambia was not aware of that?
President Amambo Kalamabang. Mam Jallo le kana nyininka.
Witness,
Akosedo,
you were arrested in the presence of the school authorities. Were you?
ye muta karambu fona nyaton ko le nyala fo manke bang.
Indeed.
Yeah, akola keta.
And you enlighten us how and what actions the school took on their own to ensure that they secured your release.
Sai afonye karambu la nyaton ko ulnata muneke ye mun ferile tamande pour kaje ko yete bula.
Since I was in detention, I wouldn't know what they were doing except what I was told.
But
what I was told was that they were told that I was going to be charged for the willful damage of somebody's property, and that I was going to be prosecuted. So I was told that they had consulted the services of a legal practitioner, in the person of the current leader of the United Democratic Party, Usainu Dabo.
United Democratic Party la nyaton koti Usainu Dabo.
That the school authorities had approached him, that in the event the state wanted to prosecute me, he was going to be hired by the school to represent me. Yes.
Thank you. Imam C, you have the floor, please.
Imam C, fanan lafte nyinin kala.
Mr. Mballow.
Yes, sir.
Popular kalal mide, bayna nana pular.
Basi ala.
Akabedi amla fulakam to wairi sedo fulakam mai. He said he's going to speak in Fula as far as the witness is a Fula.
Guidi fombido mo yafuno tamperande tampudande.
I want to appeal to forgive for the suffering you went through.
Ko tigi hen ko sukabe tubaji di tayidi.
The students whose trousers were cut,
taw ko holobe tol ni kambe.
at that time, how old were they?
Abe dalta be kebi dubi maybe sappo hedidi paski ko grade 7 level e grade 8 wala sappo hedidi ha sappo etati ndum.
They could be around the ages of 12 to 13 because they were around grades, they were at the level of grade 7.
Don non mi de yidam eska wona na mon jumte an he bosuma.
Can I say that this was a mistake by you and your boss?
Ndako won bawa dum wala no lawol gol ngol dum safra to tawon ta yan to wayidi.
Or was there no other way what you can do without cutting the trousers?
Di wawi wolirde non heddima he jom on mirore haji woni fof.
It's left. There can be another way, but it is left to the head, who was my supervisor.
Paski school jogi luwaji mudum.
Because every school has its own rules and regulations.
So kala chugal garangel do school do.
So every student who is admitted at a school,
Ko be miyama ko dum luwa school wiyo ko awawa abade luwa o wala abuta ko luwa.
they will inform you about the rules and regulations of the school, or they will even give it to you to know. It's left to the student to follow those rules.
So joni ko mbadda ko non si yadani luwa school.
If you come to do something, you commit something which is not compliant with the rules of the school,
Mawo school be.
the elders of the school or the leaders of that school,
Kay di jogi no nyawndiri.
they have ways for action, the type of action they can take. They have their own ways.
Sabu mine boss am ko mbadi ko.
Because me and my boss, what we did,
Min jakkani jawdi janandi de.
we didn't destroy any we didn't destroy any property.
Ko siso min bangi
We just took a pair of scissors.
min ngerji seda min kolli dum do tuba mba fota tajede do.
We cut a small portion of the trouser legs to indicate to the student, this is the place where you should cut your trouser and then you can sew it back again.
Min bi cuka engel si a hoti yan.
And we told the student, if you go back,
Ko do tajata tuba mba koppa dum don ko don woni uniform ko don foti hadde.
if you go home, cut your trouser at this level, then sew it back again.
Kono tuba uniform yata ha fayda yo wona no ko be mbita 3/4 tuba ko ni wona uniform.
But a uniform should not go to the level of what they call a 3/4 below the knees.
O di manu galle o galle jom galle o galle di jogi luwa gallem.
But every landlord or every head of compound has also his own or her own laws.
So heddi manu yimbe be jiri dum net.
It's left to the people how they see it.
Kono mi sikku min boss amen min jumani.
But I think me and my boss, we were correct.
Ko ko luwa amen o wiyo ko min pewna nonin.
What the school rules portrayed as what we followed.
Ah, ajara.
Thank you.
do support Didier, do we support Tadi, Dunkai Benko, Suka Beta?
Kosuka Berek. Ari go
Chairman Joseph said that 12 to 13 years are still children.
If there are no further questions, Mr. Mballow, you can make your concluding remarks now, if you have any. Please proceed.
Mr. Mballow, isila kacha kumfa.
First and foremost,
Follow.
I want to thank the leadership for establishing the TRRC as it stands, is Truth, Reconciliation and Reparations Commission.
Ko alota nyami tonya kamulu murundi nyokang aninka bulumaso ke mulula menu batata o alpha kafole munyenti.
So I hope
the
witnesses that come and sit here and swear by the Quran will speak the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Gambia is a very small community. If you do a proper observation, you will find out that all ethnic groups in the Gambia are related. Why I say this is, I am a Fula. I have a sister who is married to a Serer. So my sister's children are my nephews and nieces. But they are Sereres. But naturally I'm their uncles. And biological uncle for that. Nobody can deny that. I have a niece who is married to a Jola. The child or the children of my niece are my grandchildren. So my dad niece who is married to that Jola, the children are Jolas. But they are my grandchildren because they are children of my niece. I have an auntie who is married to a Mandinka man. So my auntie's children from that Mandinka man are my cousins. And we can even marry. We are related. I have another auntie who is married to a Karoninka. So that auntie's children are my cousins. So Gambia is just one family. Because today being a Fula, I have Jola relatives, I have Serer relatives, I have Mandinka relatives, I even have Sarahula relatives. So in Gambia, I don't think there can be anything which is called tribalism. Politics is politics. But I'm sure there is even no political party in the Gambia which belongs to one ethnic group. In fact, if that is the case, I don't think the IEC will register them. No party can be registered on tribal lines. So I think we must all understand the fact that if this country is good, it's good for all of us. But if it is bad, it's bad for all of us. We have nowhere to go to. We will always continue to be here. I have come here today. I have spoken the truth. It happened so many years back. I am now saying it here. I was very angry at the time. So I have forgiven everybody that did anything to me. All these people that I mentioned, that tortured me, I have forgiven them. If they have the chance to come and apologize to me, I will admit it, I will accept it. And I will like it very well. So, virtually, I don't have so much to say. I thank you also so much for the opportunity for me to come here and speak the truth, so that everybody knows what happened to me, so that everybody will also know how I had been living in the Gambia. But from the bottom of my heart, I have not forgotten and I will never forget what happened to me. But I have forgiven everybody wholeheartedly. And that's all I had to say. I thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mballow. We are only fulfilling a mandate given to us, and I will remind everybody that Section 13C of the Act establishing the TRRC says that it shall provide victims an opportunity to relate their own accounts of the violations and the abuses suffered. That's exactly what we have done.
Mr. Mballow, kamo min ditan tolla mbeo kamole tamande kanjang ko sartola bunda tang anin sabanjang ala sappa sabanjang wala mu kamotin telu belori men kanjang yo adum fana wo kaw men ba tamandi kan mba kata kan pour kawle sabatindi ka londi mbete fana numbara law kan.
We thank you again very much, Emma, for coming to testify before the Commission.
This
ends our proceedings, Emma, for today. We will resume the public hearings on Monday, sharp 10 o'clock in the morning.
insha la tenelunu mbe murula nan kapulu datikote ke talantang wuli hawato katenten sedi ulu lamwela.
Thank you all very much. Meeting is adjourned.
Ala baraka bake mobe be mobanta.